We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our friends at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use the box at sign up for 10 points. And here we go.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2020 NBA Draft Sports Box. I have our hoops aficionados on with us tonight for the Baseline Jumper Show. Tony Quigley, Paul Allen. Gentlemen, the season's coming around the corner very quickly here, but tonight we look towards the future with a couple of big names ready to place their roots in the NBA. It'll be a very fun night. But I guess the big news as we get started here is the Al Horford trade. Tony, you must have been 6 to midnight.
Always. I mean, that's normally how I walk around, but Al Horford just almost finished the process. You know what I'm saying? But listen, the way to get Sam Presti, Oklahoma City Thunder, to pay $80 million almost for two first-round pick and second-round pick to get rid of Al Horford is beautiful. They didn't get much in return. Terrence Ferguson has some upside as a great wing athlete, but Danny Green maybe is a veteran shooter. Sometimes he's missing, sometimes he's making, but at least he's somebody in that locker room that could hopefully help Ben and provide some leadership, and that was sorely missing last year in the Sixers locker room. So it's a great trade, and I don't think it's horrible for what Oklahoma City's doing either. But in Sixers country, you couldn't be happier.
Yeah, it looks like Oklahoma City's trying to. What the fuck was I gonna say?
What were you gonna say?
I was actually thinking of Houston Rockets. So I'm watching here, but no, that is solely. I mean, for what I hope to bring in James Harden. You're getting hella backlash on that, though. I mean, Tony, you were kind of saying you don't like Harden here.
He just jumped off. He'll be back.
I mean, a group chats I'm in, you're getting. I don't like the fit. Harden and Ben and Harden, they can't fit. I mean, I don't know. It just seems that that's what they want to bring in. I mean, I guess we got till Friday. Friday we'll.
I mean, listen. It was a bad signing. I mean, it was. I think the Sixers panicked to sign Horford. So I mean, at this point, I mean, to just get out from under the contract is important.
That's what I said. I mean, you say they're like, you give up a first round pick. I mean, the 50 saving the $50 million and getting rid of Horford's contract is worth it alone.
Julia, first pick should be coming up here. They're on the clock. The Timberwolves are on the clock.
I said they're going to trade out of it, which made sense if they traded down. Detroit traded about an hour ago. Who the hell they traded? But now they got 7 and 16. So I know they were looking to jump up to go LaMelo Ball.
But this has to be Anthony Edwards, right?
Well, if Minnesota stays here, that's you would assume, yes.
Listen, Minnesota really hasn't had an opportunity to get the value from this pick that they're looking for. So this pick right here is going to be Anthony Edwards. And when we talk about Anthony Edwards a little bit, you're talking about Andrew Wiggins 2.0 as far as heart, passion, desire. It's very, very scary. The stories that have been coming out here right now with like him bringing his own food to Benihana's and not really loving basketball. If I have the number 1 overall pick, he's the only player that really fits with him. But this is a draft that has a lot of question marks to it, and one of the biggest is Anthony Edwards. But you know what? We're going to see, because I think that's going to be Minnesota's pick.
Yeah, I mean, is that not scary? What did he say? He came out and said if a NFL team made him an offer, he would drop basketball in a second.
Well, his big thing is the celebration. He's a young, impressionable kid. So his big thing is, he wants to celebrate after he scores like an NFL player, and stuff like that. Now, Paul, real quick, you mentioned me not wanting Harden. Absolutely, I want Harden. It depends on what the deal is constructed of. It depends on everything else.
Right.
Who they pair.
What would your ideal trade situation? I mean, are you trying to keep Ben and Joel and bringing Harden.
I really don't want to get in speculation and rumors and stuff like that might not even be close to fruition. I mean, that's at this point, that's kind of just I don't like to perpetuate the trolling and nonsense that we find on social media too much. So if there is a Harden trade in the works, I don't know if it's not going to happen tonight for the most part, but so right now it's going to be it's almost like a moot point. I mean, obviously every team in the NBA wants James Harden. Yeah.
I guess it depends where he wants to go, though. He's going to call that shot. I mean, he's not just going to.
Well, we know where he wants to go. I mean, he wants to go to Brooklyn.
The big problem there, and the reason why Daryl Morey wants out, the reason why Westbrook's not happy, the reason why Harden's not happy, is the ownership. I had to update one of Brian's favorite players because he was spewing off the mouth about nonsense before. The Fridas, when the ownership changed in Houston, it changed to salary cap tightness. It changed to listen, we're not spending money and that kind of stuff. And it's hard to build a roster. And that's why Daryl Morey, first time he said, hey, listen, I'm going to take some time off. And then all of a sudden he's in Philly, he's doing great things.
Yes.
We'll see, so far, so good. So, I mean, he got rid of the unmovable contract of Horford. Yeah.
Yeah. That's huge.
It's just, like I said, I mean, Tony, don't you think that was a panic move for them? When they signed him originally, Jimmy had gone, they gave Tobias a max deal, and it just seemed like if they didn't do something, they felt the need to do something. They thought Horford could fit. It just was not a good fit from the start.
Well, when you look at it, I mean, you have to think about who's in place. When you have a guy like Brett Brown calling the shots with the offensive creativity of a slug, it's just extremely bad fit. From there, like if you say, listen, they're bringing in Al Horford to be a veteran leader on a young team who is going to be able to play power forward, and he's going to be able to give Joel minutes and be an insurance policy if Joel breaks down. I'm all for that. But what happened was Horford came here. Well, first of all, the contract was just unexcusable. But to get Horford here and have him on the team, I think that, listen, you're going to have a nice fit. And then they got him out on the perimeter shooting threes. They have him, not knowing the role. And the thing that really upset me, and hopefully Danny Green could bring some of that this year, is his poor leadership. He wasn't a leader. The locker room was just a mess. Harris made stuff, all kinds of stuff. So for Horford not to get his role and to just be on the perimeter shooting threes, it's definitely a mess. So right now I see we got Anthony Edwards as the number 1 pick overall by Minnesota. I don't know if we want to update our scroll there.
Is that official?
Yeah, it's official. It was official when I threw a whole bunch of money on it today. Velarde getting paid, baby. I don't know where my man Mike V is, but we're getting paid.
Pick is in. What do you want? What do you want? A Twitter stream?
Listen, we tweet and tweet. We keep the tweets tweeting here, buddy. You know what I'm saying? That's what we got to do. I know we've been getting a little bashed and everything like that. Oh, we don't have the Woj bombs and we're not shams and everything like that. But listen, we have our means. You know what I'm saying? We have our means. Okay. So let's get that on there. All right. I mean, I don't know if I'm ahead of you guys or behind you guys or what, but hey.
I mean, if you're watching ESPN, I mean, they didn't say nothing yet. They didn't even have them come out. So I don't know how the picks in. They went down to the last second. Nothing came in early. Here's Silver's walking out now. I mean, unless you're getting it right out of the room.
Listen, his late grandma sent me some premonitions, all right? So,
there you go.
Okay, there you go. Listen, if you could have got that bet in on time, what I'm saying? Like a little bit, like that 20-second delay, Listen, but go back to what we have in Horford. I mean, he just wasn't a fit. And Brett Brown isn't the offensive mind to get him as a fit. I mean, listen, there's a billion plays that you could run with 2 bigs. There's a billion different sets. I mean, you looked at what Duncan and Robinson did years ago. I mean, it's a little different style NBA. But at the same time, you have Horford out there. And in Boston, Horford was able to hit some of the threes. He was just a dreadful shooter. He was getting wide open threes, missing them badly. I mean, it was just bad, Horford was never supposed to play. You know what, Frank? He was supposed to get starter. He was supposed to be starter minutes. You're paying him starter minutes. You know what I'm saying? So I think that he just didn't know his role and his poor communication. That comes from poor leadership.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Brett Brown knew his role. I mean, he flip-flopped all season from starting on the bench. They just couldn't really figure out what to do with him. And like you said, if he was able to go out and hit his shots, I mean, I thought they would have spaced the floor fairly well. And he just did not play well here for whatever reason. When he was in Green, he always played good here.
Well, yeah, because he knew a role. I mean, you can't compare Brad Stevens to Brett Brown, And let's not. I'm not. In Sixers country, what we're learning now is that it hasn't. And some people knew in the past, like it was Brett Brown, it was Elton Brand, and it was some of the Colangelo leftovers that are making these decisions. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like too many cooks in a pot. And you can see what they did to Elton Brand as far as like, hey, they gave him a 5-year contract now, but you're going to learn under Daryl Morey. And so because Brand wasn't ready, he had limited experience in that role. So we can't. People want to say, look at the title GM, right? They want to look at the title GM and put all the moves on him.
Right.
But that wasn't factual, and that wasn't the reality situation. So let's get Brett Brown out of here and let's start to move on.
Well, luckily Brett Brown is gone. You got Doc, Daryl Morey. I mean, maybe they draw something up, bring in James Harden.
So let's talk about this pick. How do you?
Jeremy says ball at number 3, traded to Golden State. Well, Golden State's at 2.
Golden State's got 2.
I don't know what that means.
And, I mean, with the sudden breaking news, like I said, I mean, I've been reading on Twitter, a torn Achilles for Clay, which would mean out another year. I mean,
the torn Achilles club,
right?
That's so brutal. It's so brutal.
Directly after the ACL,
I know.
He's coming back off of 2 major injuries.
If it's complete rupture, like I did, I mean, you're talking like, so I hurt myself September 6th. I had surgery on the 14th. So that's over 2 months ago. You're looking at, and last week I started walking for the first time in a boot. Now I can't walk like regular. Right. I just walking for a boot. It's a 6 month. I did a lot of research on the Achilles injury, like, guys like Dominique Wilkins, Kobe, stuff like that. And there's only one person, as Dominique, that kind of recovered from it. So it's right. Nowadays there's better technology, better medicine, doctors, everything like that, and the surgery is more effective, and Clay is going to get the best surgery. So hopefully, we'll see. So
does that switch up what they're looking for in the draft? I mean, I still think they go Weissman. I mean, I think that makes sense for them. Comparing to just panicking immediately, it's like, oh shit, we lost Clay.
Yeah, but do you really make these picks for 1 year, because you're going to get Clay back,
right?
Well,
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
See, Golden State, I think that their goal with this pick, if it was a better draft, was to take this pick and put it for some immediate help. That wasn't going to be able to come to fruition. I mean, it's just not that strong enough of a draft for somebody who's going to.
I think Weissman comes in and helps them immediately.
James Weissman is the type of player that can come in and help them immediately. But I'm talking about like do something like Cleveland did with the Wiggins, to trade him to Minnesota for a number 1 pick to get Kevin.
Right.
Something like that, like an established all-star player, and that just wasn't available with this pick in this draft. Weissman is the player that comes in immediately. He could be the rim runner up and down the court. You know what I'm saying? He'll be able to take the lob passes. He could rebound. He could do all the little things that they really need. They had like Marquise Chris last year do a lot of it, and JaVale McGee. I mean, you're not talking about all-star players there. So James Weissman, I mean, he's been compared.
The pick is in.
What's that?
The pick is in.
Yeah, the pick's in. Yeah. I mean, they're still sitting here and talk about it.
Yeah, so.
I mean, I think that'd be a very poor pick if they went LaMelo Ball right here.
Well, unless there's trade, because there has been some trade talk, and we're all over the place with this draft.
Right.
So.
Well, I know. Yeah, Detroit's been lurking for him. I mean,
Well, Detroit's the only team that would trade up to go for LaMelo, because they really like him. Like I said before, I think in our last broadcast, Jaren Jackson has old Detroit player, and he's really looking. LaMelo's done a lot of stuff in Detroit, but I don't know if they'll be able to have enough assets.
Right.
I don't know if Blake Griffin and a first or something gets that gets the number 2 pick to get LaMelo. So it'll be interesting to see who they pick here.
They got the 7 and 16.
Detroit.
Yeah, they got some immediate number 1s.
So I mean, if they package, I could see them packaging, trying to do a Blake Griffin to break Blake Griffin and 7 to Charlotte for 3. To get the ball if Weissman is the pick. I mean, it's trying to get assets. Detroit needs a lot of help, but it's going to be interesting to see who they pick here. Draft. Like what? So, what do you feel about Edwards' fit right now, as far as on the Wolves now that he's official Timberwolf?
I mean, honestly, I didn't think the Timberwolves were going to pick here. I thought they were really going to trade out. But I mean, like I said, he's the most athletic guy in the draft, and I'd say he's probably the overall best player, dominant scorer, which they need. So I mean, I think he fits well. I think he fit well, really, in any of these top 3. How they had these guys flip flopping around. I like them going anywhere. I mean, he just fits in. He's an offensive scorer. I would have liked him.
Weissman's the pick, by the way.
Why? Sure. Well, I mean, that's what you would figure.
He's the official pick.
I like that you break the news before the rest of the world hears it.
Well, ESPN and stuff like that, they have to go through the bells, whistles, hoops, and all that kind of stuff. We don't have to do that. Here at the Sports Box, we give you the information once we have it. We have the information, we verify it, we give it to you. We're not some kind of like Frosh and all them other idiots on Twitter that just want to try to be first to the story. We want to give you news first, and we want to make it accurate news.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I think James Weissman is the best fit for Golden State. Just somebody to come in and use their dominant center, run the floor with them, shot block, rebound.
So hey, listen, man.
Steph better have a
2 for 2. 2 for 2. If ball goes third, I hit a nice parlay. So let's keep it up, buddy. Let's keep it up. Stay hot.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, but listen, Weissman's fit in Golden State. It fills an immediate need, and it also fills a future. You know what I'm saying? If he pans out, I think. I mean, a lot of times you look at player comparisons, right? He's been compared from anywhere from David Robinson to Hassan Whiteside to Chris Bosh. So it's like a 7-foot athletic player. I think he's more a combination of in between of a Hassan Whiteside and David Robinson and a Chris Bosh, because I don't think he has that shooting stroke down yet. But worst case scenario, he's DeAndre Jordan. Worst case scenario, he's DeAndre Jordan. Somebody who's just going to rip the rim off the backboard.
I mean, he's got a nice mid range.
It's developing. It's developing. I mean, you can't like Bosh and them. Is a phenomenal shooter for his size. I mean, even Bosh started at small forward. When he was early in his career.
Right. I mean, he's a true post player, but
which is few and far between in this day and age.
Right. But no, I mean, he's got a lot. And like I said, I think it's tough with a lot of these guys as you move later into the draft. I was telling Brian, you didn't get to see them in the prime time March Madness tournament. You didn't see any of these guys when they act like they're do or die games and how they react. So I mean that's got to hurt a lot of guys, I would assume, and probably I guess help some of the bums. But you don't have that feel good story of that guy that raises his draft stock up 10, 15 picks from what he did in the tournament, i.e. Kemba Walker.
Yeah, and it's a shame for them. It's just a shame for them kids. I mean, yeah, you talk about the draft stock hurt. I mean, in the bigger picture, missing out on March Madness. How about those senior guards? How about those senior players that how about the guys that aren't going to be next level? And that was probably like that was the end of what they had going on in college. So yeah, these guys couldn't improve their draft stock, but you know what? Them losing March Madness and everything, it really hurts those guys more than these kids who are going to be wind up playing. And Weissman played only a few games at Memphis. Didn't hurt him much. He's a 2 pick. Yeah.
No, absolutely.
So it's
Well, he was suspended half the right. Was he?
well, it depends.
He got paid to play, and
Well, here's what happened. They kind of said, listen,
see, what had happened was
So he got in trouble for accepting improper benefits. Then they reinstated him and said he was going to play. He could play, but then he said, you know what, I'm going to quit the team because he didn't want anything else happening to Memphis. And eventually,
was that Penny Hardaway, right?
What's that?
Penny.
Well, I mean, it's every score. I mean, there's some documentaries out there, especially the one on Showtime. I forget which the exact name was. But, I mean, the FBI is setting these coaches up, and it's just a mess. I mean, they really need to either regulate it properly or just deregulate it. Like most things.
Yeah, I mean, you can't.
Melo Ball is going to be the pick here, by the way. If you want to update to Charlotte.
I mean, I don't think they would go buy him.
What's that?
I want to see your 4 or 5 pick, like where you're at here.
As far as what?
Now, question for your parlay.
Is that an official pick? Is that it?
Yeah.
I mean, we got the official picks. Let's put us on ESPN.
Yeah, I'm watching the ESPN stream here. I mean, I see they still have James Weissman on. I mean, I might even be a little bit, as far as viewing wise, a little further behind you. But I'm looking at Weissman right now, get a thing. Yeah. But yeah, today, LaMelo Ball is an interesting prospect. Who's going to fit in with Charlotte. Charlotte has those 2 young guards in Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham. Now, Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham, they're undersized shootings. Devontae Graham should have had a lot more votes than most improved player of the year. So he's going to bring in a nice aspect, being that 6'7", possibly good to 6'8" frame. What LaMelo Ball can do is he's a phenomenal passer and playmaker. He has a ton of improvement he has to do on the defensive end, but his shot selection is
very good.
His shot selection is questionable. So it's kind of like everything. But defensively, if he really wants to be a contributor and be better than his brother Lonzo, he's going to have to, really step up defensive end.
Is he? Do you think he can be better than Lonzo?
Well, you know what? It's kind of like if you took Alonzo Ball, right? If you took Alonzo Ball and you took LaMelo Ball and you made him one player, that would be a very good NBA player. Alonzo Ball, the difference is Alonzo Ball doesn't have the confidence. LaMelo Ball has all the confidence in the world. I mean, poor shot selection, all kinds of other nonsense. We had to deal with his father. I mean, you have to understand he's the youngest kid, right. And had to deal with his father when he was 14 years old. So I give him a lot of credit. He overcame that nonsense. Now, he crashed and burned in interviews. His interviews were horrible. You know what I'm saying? So you're looking at really scared off a lot of teams, and that's probably why he wasn't the number 1 pick. If he did a little bit better in interviews, he had a little bit better shot selection. He's just a kind of like a punkish attitude almost. Yeah. Yeah. So
the Bulls here at 4. Is this kind of where the draft really starts because you get out of that top 3?
Well, the Bulls here at 4, they have a lot of different options. I don't know how you feel about it, Paul, but there's a couple ways. I don't know if the Bulls know what kind of team he wants to be, like they want to be right now. Arturas Karnisovas, I don't know if they want to try to get good quick because you hear trades about Zach LaVine, you hear trades about the Wendell Carter was possibly getting traded in this draft. I mean, the Bulls are just all over the place. Once they have an identity, I think that's what we're going to do. So you're going to see a lot from this pick. What kind of identity they have? Are they going to take a kid like Denny Avdija who would fit into that young growing core, or are they going to go with like a more of a polished prospect like a Tyrese Halliburton or somebody like that? or are they going to trade it all together? This is where it gets a little interesting in a draft.
Yeah, I was seeing a kid out of Florida State, Patrick Williams, going here.
See, the problem with Patrick Williams is he can't dribble. He can't dribble. He can't take more than 2 dribbles. He was a very inaccurate shooter. From what I hear, I heard a lot of the same thing you were hearing. I heard a lot the rumors of Patrick Williams flying up the draft board from FSU and all that other stuff. But then I also heard that it's a smokescreen. So there was a Yahoo report out there that the Patrick Williams talk was nonsense. So it's really going to be interesting to see if the smokescreen was nonsense, or they really, or where they're at. So sure, better shoot shortly.
I mean, he kind of takes that LaVine. He's like the ISO. He's a big ISO guy. I mean, he's got a 3 ball. That's why I said you get rid of LaVine, bring in some other talent.
Yeah, well, they are going to go with Patrick Williams here, which I think is a mistake. I don't like this pick at all.
They didn't go Patrick Williams.
They're going to take Patrick Williams here. So I think, like I said, this thing is a mistake. I don't think he has the handle right now for the NBA. I mean, he has the physical tools. If you look at him, I mean, and that's why the NBA drafts are so interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you have these guys that are just physical freaks. Then you have a guy like Killian Hayes that might not have the explosiveness and the freak ability, but they're actually very good players. So it's like, it's like one of them things where you're, you have to figure out, like, okay, so can I combine the talent and the athleticism? It's like, like the Mike Mamula and some of these, or Vernon Golston, or some of these guys in the NFL that just blow up the combine. They're phenomenal combine. They're freak athletes, but they can't play a lick, Yeah. So.
I understand that, and I'm not saying it's happening here, but I always hated the fact that they put on the hats of the teams, and then like 5 minutes later, oh, you really go into San Antonio.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
I get it's how the CBA works. Like, I understand why. It's just, it's just dumb. That's all.
Are you saying that he was traded to San Antonio?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying so many times we watch these NBA drafts, they put a hat on and then they walk down to talk to whoever's there. Hey, I know you're wearing a Knicks hat right now, but actually, you were traded to the Monstars. It's like, you never like, you're right. It's just like, oh, well, they're a real good organization. I'm like, I get it, but it's like, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, just the way the things work out. Because it was funny that you said that, though, because Patrick Williams was really mocked to go to San Antonio. I believe it.
I pulled that directly out of my ass.
I know. Hey, listen, great pool. Every now and then you find something special in your ass, bro.
Yeah.
Normally winds you up in the ER.
As you can tell, I'm all basketballed up right now. So.
Yeah, I know. You probably got to. You're muted or something, Paulie.
Paul is muted.
Come on there, buddy.
Says his mic is not connected. Oh no! There we go.
We couldn't hear what
Cavs up next.
All right, so hold on. So this is coming from Ryan Havermail. I know it says the sports box, but it's coming from Ryan Havermail, and I know this.
Why don't Hav jump on, buddy? Hav, jump on.
Hav should jump on, but he is calling out. He is calling out Jeremy here. He doesn't even know who the difference is.
You might want to read it. You might want to read it for Jeremy.
It says, "Hey, moron, you keep confusing LaMelo with LiAngelo. You think LiAngelo is going to be a superstar. He's not. LaMelo absolutely deserved to go top 3 and is going to be the best ball brother. Again, you don't even know the difference between the players." So thank you, Ryan Havermill. I've just popped on. I see him now. He's watching. He really should jump on. He's got the link. He should come on and just like lay into him. That would be fun.
That would be good too. But listen, hey, man, I mean, J-Rock, Lonzo Ball, Angelo Ball, Lucille Ball. I know he gets them all confused at sometimes, but J-Rock's one of our the best guys that we have that join us every week, as Brian rolls his eyes. But you know what? We got to love J-Rock and what he bring.
I think he still thinks Eagles are going 9-7. Paul, you're muted again.
Man, all these years people have been trying to shut him up, and he finally found a way to.
There we go. What do you?
Are you good now?
I don't know why it keeps muting me.
Must disagree with you.
It's just-
But yeah, it's an interesting draft now. I mean, the Patrick Williams pick, I don't like it. It's a developmental pick. I mean, who's Patrick Williams remind you of?
Patrick Williams.
Yeah, I mean, it's
His comparisons of Paul Millsap.
Al-Farouq Amino.
Al-Farouq Amino. I mean, listen.
I mean, I don't. They said possibly what was it? Kawhi a little bit was like a big name that they would come close to comparing him to.
I mean, that's a little unfair right now. At this.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I don't.
I mean,
He's not getting crazy out of the gym. He's just. He said he's a developmental player, developmental pick. It's not. But I mean, what are the Bulls? They're a developmental franchise. They don't know what the fuck they are right now. That's been since Jordan left.
Yeah, it's tough right now. I mean, Patrick Williams, he's like I said, he's all over the place. I mean, all right. So so Isaac Okoro is going to be the pick for the Cleveland Cavaliers, which is another player. I'm not going to say I'm down on, but I'm not the highest on either. These guys, they're balancing like athletes, really. You know what I'm saying? Instead of skill. And Isaac Okoro, he's a guy right now that you're looking at 3-and-D. So I mean,
yeah, he's big defensive guy.
Yeah,
we said that last week. They went. Their last two picks were
just because. Yeah, I love Josh's his profile pick there with dude from Last Dance. I forget his name right now.
Yeah.
He was best player on the board, obviously. And Jeremy taking shots back at Hav, he's the moron. Because I said he said they both had no chance. I called him out about 20 minutes ago. I want my 10K. Actually, I remember the bet. That was a LiAngelo Ball bet, and I can go find screenshots to prove that. But
yeah, I mean, I'm sure that'll be some OTB fodder tomorrow. About that. But listen, the Ball brothers. From what Josh said, he has a great profile pick. Josh is a great dude. So, LaMelo and Charlotte. I think that is.
There's Hav. There's Hav again. Hav just commenting which is fine. I just happen to know it's Hav. So,
well, why don't you jump in and you can say this?
Hav really should jump on the show. Hav. You can say it with your voice,
or just log in as his own thing, so we can keep the show moving here.
Yeah.
But like I was saying with the LaMelo and Charlotte pick, like Josh brought up. Listen, the Charlotte pick is a great fit for him. I think it's it's. As I said before during the pick, playing with those two guards, it gives Charlotte some star power that they needed too. So the Okoro pick and I'm not in shock. Jeremy, is that the YouTube comment, right?
That's somebody on YouTube. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, so I mean, listen, you guys hard on J-Rock. I mean, come on now. He's got his food ready for the draft, and he's enjoying the show. We appreciate him watching the comment.
He's actually done watching the draft, and he's
watching The Mandalorian.
To The Mandalorian. Like I said, this draft was about 3 picks, which I think I'm right. Still,
I can't agree with that, Paul. Not even in the slightest.
I know you can't. You got to dig into everybody and. It's different.
Well, I mean, you're short-sighted on the draft, though. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I am majority of population's eyes on. There you go, Okoro. Yeah, that's about 12 minutes ago.
Sportsbox knows people. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, listen. Here's the thing, though. I think when I say you're short-sighted on the draft, I mean that there's going to be a lot of talented players.
When you look at the outside world. I mean, they look at it and they say this is a 3-person draft, and then they go on. The average casual basketball fan, I mean, it is what it is. But there's guys, you and many others that dig in depth into this. But if you ask general consensus, it's a top 3 picks.
Well, but the NBA draft, I mean, clearly of all the drafts, it's the most top heavy. It just is, and
normally,
I understand why people would say that.
Right.
Well, very rarely in these drafts, when you get to about like pick 10, like, do you really see anybody who's gonna, you project to have an impact? I know that you're gonna find guys on occasion. Golden State, though.
Yeah, you jump back and you look, and you're like, oh, I can't believe we passed up on that guy. He was taking 15th. It's coming into it. He was never. Nobody know about these guys develop into it years later.
Yeah,
and Fedora said it earlier.
But that's my point, though. Like, see, since there's so much after the top 3, there's so much balance and questions between all the other prospects that there is very capability of teams finding exactly what they need in the draft. Teams finding a player like Obi Toppin, it maybe develops into a little bit something more, or that when you're looking at down the road, like a kid like Cole Anthony that might get picked, or Tyrese Maxey, or some of these guys that might get picked later in the draft, that really have an impact. You've seen. So let's go. So who was the big star in the bubble this year, right? Who was everybody's heartthrob down in Miami? Tyler Hero. He wasn't a top 3 pick. He wasn't a top 5 pick. Duncan Robinson. Like, you're looking at all these kind of picks here that these kids could really fit into a nice piece and develop down the line. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what a draft like this provides. A couple of, since we're in Sixers country, right? The Zaire Smith draft. Okay. Now we have to sit there and watch Michael Porter Jr. and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and everybody else who are picks in that range after the 10 spot light us up. And that's my point. We're saying, listen, this draft isn't really top heavy because there's not that Zion Williamson, there's not that Ja Morant, or that, or that LeBron James, and then the first 5 picks were absolute studs. It's very well possible that somebody who's picked at 10 and under is the best player from the draft, like the Giannis draft, or back-to-back MVPs getting picked in, I forget what he was, maybe 14 or something. I mean, it's, so that's why I think this is a very interesting draft. It's not very compelling from superstar power, but it's a very interesting draft when you're looking at it as far as team building.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's any draft. You're going to find guys like that. You can go back and look the last 20 years. There's guys in the middle of the draft that you go back. I mean, I used to do it with the Sixers. You're like, holy shit, I can't believe we drafted this guy over blah, blah, blah. And then you go look at the next year. Like, oh, shit. You used to go back to 96. Pretty much you start with Iverson and just move forward, and embarrassed how many players the Sixers passed up on, directly, 1 pick.
Here's a question for you. Joe Rickson in the Outside the Box watch party, who I know is a big Seton Hall guy, waiting for his boy Miles Powell to get his name called. Does he have a shot to get into the second round?
All right. Well, real quick, Brian, I want to address Miles Powell because he's one of my favorite players in this draft. We skipped a couple picks here. We got going to Atlanta is Onyeka Okongwu, center from USC, freak athlete. Then Detroit gets their man in Killian Hayes at 7. They were looking for a guard. So I think that's those are the 2 picks that we have to catch up with. So Atlanta has Okongwu, and Killian Hayes goes to Detroit. Joe. Where's Joe Rickson's comment? If I could find
it's in the watch party. It's not going to show up on the.
Okay. So listen, Joe, I mean, Miles Powell, he is instant offense. When I watch him play, and he's, Paul, what you earlier mentioned, a lot of guys getting hurt by not having that prime time March Madness spotlight. I think Powell and that Seton Hall team in general was going to do big things in the tournament. They were a team that could play with anybody. Miles Powell, he is somebody who could provide instant offense on the bench. I would love the Sixers to use one of them second-round picks on him. Does he have a chance? He isn't the most explosive athlete, so I think and being a little bit shorter, I think that hurts him. When I see Miles Powell, I look at an undersized James Harden clone. Love to step back 3. He has a similar game. He could get to the foul line. He has that scorer's mentality, and I would love to see him get an opportunity to get drafted. Have you watched Seton Hall, Miles Powell at all, Paul?
No, not much.
Yeah. So listen, he's a fellow pirate. You know, me and Miles, and I'm sure he spent as much time in Walsh Gym as I did back in the day. And you know, it's always a fun time getting up some shots. But yeah, so I'm really rooting for Miles Powell. And he was one of those guys I was talking about, man. Him. Marcus Howard is another one. You know, one of the nation's leading scorers from Marquette. They could just fill it up. Undersized filling up. It's great to see. So hopefully he gets a shot.
How tall is he?
I think he's listed at 6'3", but he's I don't think he's even that tall. But, you know, he's probably like 6'2", probably more. I never seen him in the in person.
Where's he from? Got to be New Jersey somewhere.
Miles. I'm trying to think. Is he from Delaware or North Jersey? But yeah, Miles Kill, I think, was from Delaware. He played at AAU down here in South Jersey. I think Miles Powell went to yeah, he went to South Kent. That's right.
Obviously, Onyeka Okongwu really into that Mountain Dew. Wants to sign a contract.
Mountain Dew's got everybody.
So Atlanta, you're watching the ESPN feed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're just now selecting Okongwu.
Yeah. Also a Chino Hill Bull.
We'll try not to get
Alonzo, LiAngelo, LaMelo.
Yeah, I mean they're doing a good
team there.
Yeah, they were stacked for a little bit there now. So he came in, and I know a lot of people had him, you know, they had Wiseman as the number one center, but they also had Okongwu as 1A. He is a player that's similar to, if you had to kind of do like a crazy comparison, to Zion, really. I mean, everybody loves his explosiveness, his dunking ability, but he just doesn't have the hype. He's not, you know, he might not have the charisma or anything like that Zion has, but you know, similar game to him. You know, the handle's not there.
Yeah, it's crazy. You already got up to what, Tony?
We have Detroit's pick here, and Detroit's on the clock. We know who it is.
Yeah, Detroit's taking Killian Hayes, kid from France.
Kid from France. Who?
It's got a great name.
The one kid fell. The Avita.
Yeah, Danny Avita hasn't been picked yet. I
mean, you would expect him to go in the next 2-3 picks, but I mean, he was projected a little bit higher than these guys, right?
Well, it really depends on what you want. See, the Bulls, Avita was the spot that I thought would look really good with the Bulls because he is a combination of a Tony Kukoc / Dario Saric type of player, which can kind of do a little bit of everything. A little bit better athlete than Saric is, not as good a shooter as Kukoc is. Really has to work on his foul shooting. But he's a pass first guy. You know, he's almost a 7-footer that could play like the small forward position. Really fits in today's NBA. Played in Israel. His dad was a Yugoslavian national team player. I mean, so he has the genetic, you know, pool. And I know how Brian likes the Yugoslavian and the foreign players. You know,
listen, the Yugo is a great car.
Yeah. So he's a kid. That, I mean, it's going to have to be a fit. So obviously the Bulls thought that Patrick Williams had a higher upside prior than Denny, and that's probably why they went with him.
Do teams still? I mean, do teams shy away from guys that play overseas? Like, I'll give you an example. So in hockey, guys that are from Russia that have the ability to go back and play in Russia, they tend to fall in drafts, not because the talent's not there, but because there's always that risk of them not coming over or staying where they are. Right. Does that hurt guys? Like obviously Giannis fell, but that's just like, did he fall just because he was a foreign-born player?
Well, Giannis fell because he wasn't Giannis at that time. I mean, he was very skinny and stuff like that. So I don't think Giannis is a good way, good comparison. But yeah, some of these guys, it kind of works both ways too. Because like if you look like Dragan Bender, who was completely overrated because he was played, the Euro gets a the stigma of being like more fundamentally sound, more prepared. They start playing professionally at 15 years old, 14 years old, stuff like that. So like they get sometimes they get too much credit. Now, when you're talking about what you're really talking about is like the signability aspect of it. Okay, so Big trade today with Al Horford. I know I mentioned this in the group chat. So the Al Horford trade was a huge trade, and it was great. One of the pieces that the Sixers sent with Al Horford was Vasil Micic, or however you say it, M-I-C-I-C. Okay, so the Sixers drafted him. He was one of the last Hinkie picks. He was drafted in 2014. His rookie contract ran out. Okay, Sixers were currently were in cap hell. So they weren't going to be able to sign him to a new deal. They could use a mid-level exemption on him, but that's friggin' I think like over $6 million now. So that kind of stuff, you'll see guys taken in the second round. Expect a guy like with the kid from Argentina, Baldaro, might go to the Celtics because they might be able to stash him for a year. And there's like a Potsnetsky, Alexis Potsnetsky, who might be good. Because the Celtics have multiple first-round picks, and they might want to use him. They don't want to put him on a roster immediately.
Tony, who just did that? Like to what Brian's question was it Korkmaz with the Sixers that they like drafted him and he stayed overseas like the other 2 years?
Well, Dario Saric.
Yeah, Saric, right?
Yeah,
he stayed there for 2 years after we drafted him.
Exactly.
Right.
He he was like one of those things where there was a contract dispute. His dad had a lot of control of him. I mean, to me, he was an average player. You know what I'm saying? And he's kind of shown that since he was out there. Like I never got the hype of it. I wasn't really a big fan of the draft pick. I kind of wanted to see them take trying to think, it was Doug McDermott at the time, who, obviously he's a limited player, but he does one thing great, and that's shoot the basketball. Hindsight would have been beautiful, but it just didn't happen. So yeah, so foreign players, they're interesting lot. So who do we have on the clock now? The Knicks?
The New York Knicks. So here's somebody who's going to be a bust.
Let's come on. Let's not worse. Let's not.
Are they trying to trade Barrett? Did I see?
Listen. Everybody the Knicks take is a disaster. Like people want to talk about like Trevor Lawrence not wanting to go to the Jets. I mean, my God, every single player this team takes stinks.
But
they never pan out. They never pan out.
Here. Well, they pan out when they pan out somewhere else.
He looks New York ready.
Look at that chick. She's like, "Where's my check?"
She needs to get to New York quick.
She's looking. Do you ever remember the Russell Wilson when he got drafted? He's like, she's like, I can't wait to spend all this money. I am a gold digger.
Brian, some of them actually like the guys.
Yeah, they do.
Talking about Halliburton's girl there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's not,
That's cool.
So when he's a Knick, I mean he's not going to have that. I mean he's going to be in New York.
I mean it's like the Knicks need a little bit of everything. I mean, did you have your pick in on this already, Tony?
The Knicks pick?
Yep. Are we delayed here? We only got 1 minute and 45 seconds left. We gotta.
I was listen. Somebody's got to talk. So I mean, I really wasn't looking for the pick, but I think he's. I think they're gonna go with Obi Toppin. Actually, I think that's
your guess.
Is that your opinion, or are you breaking?
No, that's my opinion and guess. It's not a fact.
All right, so we don't have the pick yet.
All right, I'm not going to cue it up then.
Obi Toppin out of Dayton.
I think they.
I mean, he's an offensive.
Okay, it is official. It's Obi Toppin is the pick.
Toppin. I mean, they gained some. He was projected to go a little bit earlier. So I mean, he fell to what was 7?
Well, yeah, this is So he fell to 8. The Knicks had the 8th pick. So listen, I Obi Toppin. I said a lot about the same thing about Miles Sanders. Miles Powell from Seton Hall. Obi Toppin, he's National Player of the Year. Offensively, the guy can't do anything wrong. He can shoot the ball.
Very, very solid offensive guy.
Yeah, he could shoot the ball. He could jump out the gym. He's a pogo stick. I mean, he's gonna
gets good boards.
Him and Mitchell Robinson are going to be two of the most athletic players that are in in the front court together.
Right.
The question with Obi Toppin is he plays absolutely zero defense. So again,
I mean that's NBA anymore. So
wasn't Kevin Knox a good defender? Wasn't that his thing?
No, Kevin Knox isn't a good defender. But listen, so if you look at it,
I had him on my fantasy team 2 years ago.
And here's why they were showing Tyrese Halliburton is because that's probably who they should have picked, right? Because the Knicks don't have a point guard now. So you have RJ Barrett, you have Kevin Knox, you have Obi Toppin, you have Mitchell Robinson. Okay, so that's their young core. None of them are distributors. None of them are ball handlers. None of them. I mean, RJ Barrett is ball dominant. He's an isolation scorer, but he's not the facilitator. And I thought they would go with Halliburton to be the facilitator.
Normally those are tears of joy. I think he's actually very upset right now.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
He's like, oh my God, I can't believe I went to the New York Knicks. I'm done.
Like all the older guy, like did everybody cry when they got drafted? Has that always been a thing?
I got a picture of that. I got a meme that one.
Yeah, you got to get on it quick because I'm sure everybody else in the world is thinking that right now. That was like the Dallas one. That was an easy layup. The guy crying in the stands with the girl. Come on. Another Dayton Flyer.
Yeah, him crying. I mean, listen, they're showing the highlights. I mean, the kid could jump out. I mean, between the legs in the game, stuff like that. I mean,
full of international players. Is that recent, and where is he coming from with that?
I'm sorry. What was that?
Jeremy said it's different nowadays. The NBA is full of international players. Is that I think he's responding to Brian's question.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA always had a nice mixture of international players, but
well, now you're getting I guess some big. I mean, Luka's almost becoming the face of the NBA.
I mean, what he's been doing is
the face of the NBA. I mean, they're. I mean, you got some guy.
Where's this? Okay, so this is a nice spot for Denny to go would be Washington. So
they need another guard in Washington.
Well, he's not a guard; he's a forward. He's a 7-foot forward.
What are the Denny Avdija?
Denny Avdija, yeah, Denny Avdija.
He's a 3.
Well, listen, when you have Bradley Beal who wants to score the ball, when you have John Wall who's ball dominant, who wants to score a lot. I mean, a guy like Denny who could be a decent spot up shooter and can pass the ball. I think that's going to be a good fit. I love the Knicks.
He's definitely a ball handler. He's ball in hand kind of guy.
Yeah,
I mean they already have 2 of them. I mean, they've been fighting for years.
Yeah, but Beal is more of a scorer.
Right.
He doesn't really need to have the ball.
Is John Wall playing in Washington this year? What do you think?
Yeah, John Wall's definitely going to play in Washington. I mean, unless there's trades and stuff like that. But I think his like Denny is somebody who could move without the ball. He could give the ball to the scorers, and he's not going to cause a problem. So I like the pick for Washington. I like the Knicks pick. I know it's going to be a funny meme with him crying in the Knicks hat, but I like the Knicks pick. I mean, listen, he's going to bring excitement to the Garden. It's comical that we're sitting here bashing the Knicks because they were the hierarchy of the NBA for so many years. Is the Knicks and old school kind of the Mecca as it was called. Now Brooklyn seems to be taking that a little bit over. So. It's
Halliburton to the Suns is looking. Well, they ain't bringing him there now. They got Chris Paul. Sure.
There it is. We got it already up. Did you share that one, Brian? I seen it.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get it into our broadcast here.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm going to put it up. There it is.
Beautiful. Listen, I'll tell you what, man. You're looking at a millionaire that's living in New York right now playing professional basketball. I mean, I understand we're making fun of him, but You can't get much better than that.
I wish the kid nothing but the. I mean, obviously, you want to see the kid, do very, very well. But
But as I hope they ship bricks, in the Knicks. So Opie, no, it's Obi Toppin, buddy, Obi Toppin. But yeah, Josh Baez, he commented earlier. He's a big Knicks fan. Like I said, I love the pick as well. For anything, he's going to bring kind of excitement, and I think that's what the Knicks need. Plus he's 22 years old, so he's instantly going to help them pick a little bit more.
That's what Woj was just saying. They thought they were going to have to go up to 5 to get him.
Yeah, I mean, that's why when a lot of people were talking about like some of the later picks in the draft, like you kind of have to see how the draft plays out, and you might be pleasantly surprised if somebody slips. Like Patrick Williams was somebody that they were talking about all over the place. He was projected in the 15 range, then 11th range, then the 4 range, and then once the Bulls go up and get him to full up at 4, then you got a guy like Toppin, falls. Then you got Denny Avita falling to Washington, who they weren't really sure that he would be there. So I'm sure they're happy and they did their homework on him. The Phoenix pick's going to be very interesting because they got Chris Paul. I assume that they go get another young wing. The Chris Paul trade, they got rid of Kelly Oubre. They got rid of I'm trying to think who else they got rid of. Trying to think off the top of my head. I remember that. You remember that trade, the Chris Paul trade? Who they got rid of Kelly Oubre. They got rid of another wing, I believe.
I do not have that in front of me.
So what you're looking at is probably go wing here. I can see Halliburton, as a second guard off the bench.
Oh, is this pick in? Do we know this pick?
Let's see. So it was Kelly Oubre, Ricky Rubio, Ty Jerome, Jalen Leclerc. Yeah, so you're looking at, everybody was on the wing. So they need to replenish that wing there. Do we know the pick? No,
yeah,
what's that?
Denny Avita.
Yeah, I said that earlier. I'm looking for
I was memeing. I apologize.
Yeah, so the Denny Avita pick is in, I guess.
I was told by a Villanova apologist that the Villanova player was going to be the top 10 in the draft. I guess Saddiq Bey has one more pick to figure that out.
Saddiq Bey would be a nice pick here for them. I mean, if you
over under, I think was 12.5 before the draft.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that wouldn't be a bad pick here. I mean, Michael Bridges, former Villanova Wildcat, is over there in Phoenix. I mean, he might be able to take Saddiq. Listen, Saddiq Bey can shoot the ball. He can play defense. He would be a good wing. It's crazy too that you're looking at like a draft here when we were talking about all these trades and stuff. There's been no trades in the first 10 picks.
No.
We were expecting all these moves and then nothing. Nothing.
Literally.
Yeah, literally nothing except drafts. So that's that's not a bad thing. But
get into Cole Anthony territory.
Cole wouldn't be a bad fit in Phoenix. I mean, to learn behind Chris Paul.
I think this is a little early for him, but
I mean, he was a second. He was a number 2 player coming out of the high school.
Yeah.
I mean, he went. The kid just got vilified for staying and helping his team and being a leader. I mean, if you look at Weissman, what Weissman did, Weissman quit on his team, and he goes to number 2. So what if, what if Cole Anthony just quit on his team when he got hurt? I mean, would he have been a top 10 pick by now? It's tough to say. It's a little unfair, because they start bashing about shooting percentage and everything. So,
I mean, there are things that you need to have that are very important. It sounds like,
I think let's move over to one of Brian's favorite people in the draft, and that's
Cole Anthony.
No, one of your favorite people in the draft, and that's Trevor Lawrence to talk about. Okay.
Oh. Okay.
And this is and let's talk about this real quick because it's one of the things that kind of bothers me a little bit because every year these players are like Trevor Lawrence. If he came out as a freshman, He was the number 1 pick, right?
Right.
Now he stays a couple years. People start nitpicking him. He doesn't look as good, and he doesn't have the hype and the momentum. Okay,
Who?
Trevor Lawrence.
What?
No, listen. Justin Fields talk is creeping up there. Wilson talk is creeping up there.
Right.
So if he went out as a freshman, he would have been by far and away the number 1 pick, the toast of the town. Okay. The same thing happens with these guys who stay in the NBA a little bit. Like if you're not a one and done player in the NBA and you're a sophomore, or God forbid you're a junior, and seniors hardly ever get drafted. It's kind of like what's going on wrong. So Cole Anthony was a victim of, listen, why did he played so long and they were able to pick him apart? Same could have happened to James Wiseman. But here's the thing. Why is it okay for the NBA to get vilified all the time and say, oh, well, these players should be able to come right out of high school? But no one says anything about the NFL. Free market is free market. If I'm the best high school player and if an NFL team wants to draft me, they should be able to draft them. And the NFL gets no slack on it.
Well, you know what it is though, but they say, hey, you're not physically mature enough to go play professional football with men. I mean, it's a different game.
So what? I know that's their argument, but here's the thing. They want to develop them and so they can keep the college football money rolling. That's what it's about. Okay. Also, what would be the bad thing about the NFL drafting somebody like a Trevor Lawrence, who was actually definitely ready to play in the NFL after his freshman season, put him on the bench for a year? What's the difference between him and Jordan Love this year? Right? If they took, I mean, it's a valid argument that I think people just kind of like overlook, and they want to vilify these NBA players or these high school players. But then the NBA, the college football players get vilified.
Well, I had always said, with the advent of the XFL, like, could you see guys that couldn't go play in the NFL right away go try to make some money?
That's what, XFL?
Yeah, well, I believe that the XFL did allow them.
Noted Sixers fan Jeremy Bland does not know.
He's not a Sixers fan.
Sixers have any picks in the first.
Sixers fan.
Well, let's first of all clear the air. Jeremy Bland is a Clippers fan. He's not a Sixers fan. Okay, so he knows he might not know about the Sixers because he's not a Sixers fan. He's a Clippers fan, and he'll stay a Clippers fan. I mean, he's probably going to say he likes the Sixers now because of Doc Rivers, but the Sixers have the 21st pick to answer your question, though, J Rock. So there he goes. So the Phoenix Suns are on the clock, and they just took Jalen Smith, power forward, who I thought would be a good fit in Boston.
Jalen Smith off the clock. Interesting. I don't have him.
It's a little high.
Very.
Well, see, the thing is, here's the thing with Jalen Smith. He has a very, very high upside. And when you look at players like Isaac Okoro and who's the other one? Patrick Williams and even Onyeka Okongwu, those guys don't have the skill of Jalen Smith. As Jalen Smith is a true stretch four in the NBA.
He's your modern day big.
He can shoot the ball. He could rebound. I mean, he's more of a stretch four ready-made than some of these other guys that are drafted that are going to wind up having to be a stretch four. Like Obi Toppin is a stretch four, but he's kind of in like a body of a small forward. I mean, he's kind of got that tweener height. Jalen Smith is 6'10", 6'11", can shoot the ball from the perimeter, can go up and get it. Decent athleticism. Yeah, definitely somebody who could, could fit right away. He could help that Phoenix team. Yeah, I mean, it's still. What's that?
Silver was looking like somebody was about to come out of the thing to give him a hat. Yeah, they're like he's lost. Look, they're like, all right, let's not make it look like there's 1,000 people behind whatever little draft picture there is.
Looks like he's in like the Olive Garden or something. What the hell is that?
Yeah, so is that Don Cheadle part of Jalen Smith's entourage?
Yeah, there's about 45 people standing behind the
Yeah, I see that they're all hiding back there. I guess they're not socially distancing. That's more 10 people.
Shit.
Can't wait till he gets braces.
6
Yeah.
and
But listen, you can see the kids the kids put together. He's got an NBA body. He's ready. He's ready to contribute now. He's going to be able to play that pick. That stretch 5, stretch 4 in Phoenix, which they need because I don't think they're going to re-sign Aaron Baines. And if Aaron Baines is a free agent, they have somebody who could come in and kind of step in right away.
So my question for you: We're 10 picks in. We're third on the first round. Who's your biggest surprise so far? Is it this pick?
oh yeah.
Let me see. For me, it's the Patrick Williams pick. Although there was plenty of rumors of him going 4, I just don't like it. I just don't think it's a great fit. I think that it's a long-term project pick. He could prove me wrong, by developing a dribble. I mean, he can't dribble more than 3 dribbles, and then there, the reports out there, from Smith from Yahoo and them guys saying that this was a smoke screen, but obviously it wasn't. So, that's a very surprising pick for me. I think it's a little bit of a reach. And then I think there's some better fits. Spurs are on the clock, though, which is going to be interesting.
Like you said, Brian Smith he jumped up.
It just seemed high. Everything that I've looked at this was on the higher end of his range, if you will.
I didn't see him anywhere around there. I see him like 17, 18, 19.
Right, that's exactly where I thought it. Yeah.
Well, I think it was the 14th that I seen him mock to the Celtics most. I think the Celtics would have been a beautiful fit for him, and I'm kind of happy that they didn't get him.
Chuck Graziano, Cole Anthony to Philly, or they got to move up to go get him?
Chuck, my man, what's up, buddy? Cole Anthony has a lot of traction getting picked to Orlando. If you could get past Orlando, that's going to be one of those interests me. Then he could fall. I don't know the Sixers' feelings with Cole Anthony. I know Doc Rivers, Greg Anthony. They know each other pretty well. It's a little weird this year because you don't know who worked out who and did virtual workouts. I mean, it's not always an easy fit. So it's Cole to Philly. I would love it. I think he could play that combo guard role in the NBA. Cole's skill set is much more suited to the NBA than it is college. And his heart and being a competitor, I think would really resonate well with the Philly fans, who like some of that firiness. Plus, the kid can get up. I mean, I would love him in Philly. I mean, he has, but we'll see.
Spurs. Good drafting team over the years.
Let's see if that continues, right?
They need a point guard. They got one sitting there for him.
Who's that? Halliburton?
Halliburton.
No, I think Sadiq Bey might be the pick here. No, the Spurs like their backcourt. They have the kid Dejounte Murray and then Derek White, and I think they're happy with their backcourt. I'm pretty sure that they're not. I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I would think that I know Sadiq Bey was a long rumored here. I think he's at range. Oh, you won your bet too, Brian, by the way.
He did not get drafted in the top 10.
Yep, you won your bet, buddy.
I told him. I said no Nova players in the top 10.
How much did that cash out?
Nothing.
$20. Just a haha.
I get to just laugh at somebody who thinks Nova's always so great.
Yeah, Nova's an interesting school. I mean, they broke my heart by hitting that shot against Carolina.
I remember it vividly. Yes,
that was amazing.
Yeah, they're like low understands. The thing that
interesting. I thought you said they like their backcourt.
What's that?
I thought you said they like their backcourt.
I didn't see what they
breaking news. Wow,
is the pick in?
Evan Vassell?
Oh no. Well, he's not a pure backcourt player. He's a shooting guard / small forward. Strictly just a shooter.
That's where I thought he was going to go to the Suns.
James McClone, Tyrese Halliburton is the best player in the draft. The fact that he's still available is crazy.
Halliburton, right? That's kind of I've been seeing him slip, and I don't know why.
Well, here the problem with Halliburton is there's question about his athleticism. Okay, so he doesn't have like a ton of the quick twitch explosiveness that they like to see in NBA guards, but he does a lot of things well. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton is one of them guys who could play in the NBA for a long time. Because he does have a nice skill set. He can shoot the ball well. He's a good distributor. He is sole hand dominant. Like he only stays on his one hand. I think he never really goes to the left, I believe. Well, it's either left or right. He doesn't go. I remember hearing that about him.
Which I don't.
What's that?
I mean, he does everything. I don't get why he hasn't went. He was projected in the top 5, 6, top 6 at least. And we were now getting into what? 13, 14.
I mean, I could definitely see Halliburton going here. I mean, if the Kings are going to lose Buddy Hield, I mean, Halliburton could come in and play that part next to De'Aaron Fox, who likes to
shots.
What
the hell else do you want?
What's that?
I just don't know what else you want out of a guy. I mean, just for some of the guys that have went. I mean, I kind of forgot he was still even available.
Yeah, I expected him to go to, I believe it was Detroit. I like him a little bit more than Killian Hayes. But
who did you say was the pick for the Celtics?
I didn't say
for probably
I said Jalen Smith. I've seen him go to the Celtics a lot. To be that stretch forward because, as you see, they needed some size in the playoffs. Especially a guy who could shoot a little bit more consistent. They're starting.
The Kings picked. Kings are up now. This is where I was seeing the kid from Nova, Bay.
Sadiq Bey would be another pick too. Like they say, if they're going to move on from Buddy Hield, Halliburton's the pick here. Tyrese.
And Sacramento's just got to be over the moon, right? I mean,
Sacramento's a very weird environment. I mean, Luke Walton's out there. I don't know why guys are not happy there. I mean, it's Sacramento, it's California. I mean, it's not the best place in California, but at the same time, not too many expectations, and they're out there getting paid. Yeah, I mean, they're on, and I think they have Marvin Bagley was a couple years ago. That was their pick. I mean, should have been Luka. You know what I'm saying? I mean. And the reason why Luka isn't a king, do you guys remember why Luka is not a king? Paul,
Do I what?
Do you know why Luka isn't a king?
King. I've heard it, but no.
All right, interesting story. The GM,
the dad,
Vlade Divac doesn't like his dad.
I knew I heard something
wrong. That's good.
And so he didn't take the most exciting player in the NBA now.
He should have been fired. How about that?
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense. I mean, the ownership and the Kings are a little weird, but
But is this still the guys who own the Palms? I forget their name right top of my head right now. Maloofs?
No, they sold it. It's I don't know what he is. I'll find it.
I follow him on LinkedIn.
Rivek Ranadive. Yeah, he's very a hands-on owner. That's for sure. And he you could see him very vocal and stuff like that. But yeah, he's interesting dude. He's owned it for a few years. I don't know.
There's KG. What an idiot! What a loser! Hold on. Wait a minute. Where is it? Oh, we don't have it on here.
You don't have what?
I don't have what a loser.
Loser. Yeah, I thought you did have it.
I'm using the baseline jumper back here. I got this. That's all I got.
Should have it on there.
There you go.
Yeah, that's yeah, but yeah, I mean,
baseline jumper. No, we downloaded that one to. I thought I did it to Total Degenerates. I guess not.
I'll go here real quick. I know I got it.
There it is.
There it is. Hold on. I gotta get the comment off the screen. There we go. That's all it is right there. What a loser. So.
Well, no, I mean, I guess he didn't have any issues with Tyrese Halliburton's dad, so it was just very, very weird. I mean,
you're telling me that story, and you know what I just think of right now?
Justin Thomas, after his excellent approach shot, ran all the way toward the back of the green for birdie.
Dude, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Well,
That's what it is.
yeah, I mean that's one of them things there. I mean, if you want to talk about so you got Michael Jordan giving the blessing to draft LaMelo Ball today. I mean, if Michael Jordan is ready to deal with LeVar Ball, Vlade Divac probably should have been ready to deal with Luka Doncic's.
Michael Jordan didn't have to deal with LeVar Ball at all. Just
here's the other thing too. In the Philly area, you remember when Ja Okafor's dad was here, always causing an issue, always a problem, in the stands and running off his mouth. I mean, so imagine LeVar Ball and him in New Orleans with Lonzo and Ja. So I mean, it's weird. So I think the NBA kind of neutered him a little bit. LaMelo is no longer a part of the Big Baller brand. He signed a nice deal with Puma, who have the whole clothing line and everything for him. So, I mean, wish the kid luck. I mean, but yeah, dealing with the dads, always an issue.
Yeah, no, LeVar, you haven't heard anything from him since Lonzo started.
Since he was on Monday Night Raw.
Right.
But then LeVar also guaranteed that the Lakers will never win, and you see how that worked out.
I wish he'd guarantee that I won't win the lottery tomorrow.
Well, that one he'd probably be right on.
He likes to guarantee things will happen.
But I don't believe he played. Did you play the lottery for tomorrow?
Ooh, there could be we could see a trade.
Yeah, that's the chatter I'm hearing too.
We could see a trade. They're probably like, damn it, I wanted that kid.
Yeah, this is New Orleans right now.
Yeah, I mean, New Orleans is in a spot right now where they have a lot. They have a lot of talent on the team. I mean, Zion, Brandon Ingram. They traded Drew Holiday, which I'm a bigger fan on Dre than anything. But
ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome Brian Hess to the broadcast.
What's up, gentlemen? How we doing?
Hess, what's up, buddy? How you feeling?
Show up. There's going to be a trade apparently.
I was just going to say, we haven't had any trades, during the draft yet. And looks like we're going to have our first one here involving the Pelicans. So it's about time. We saw some, pre-draft fireworks as far as trades go. But, this being the first one in the draft, it's about time. Good. Start to shake things up a little here.
I'll tell you what. I respectfully know less about basketball than Paul McCree knows about hockey. And Paul McCree knows nothing about hockey. But this pick by the Kings is going to be one of the ones we look back and say, what a great pick this was. Because this kid shouldn't be here.
Right. I had Halliburton going 4 to the Bulls. So for him to be there at 12 for the Kings to take, I mean, I'm sure they were ecstatic to take him. Him and Obi Toppin dropping to 8.
Yeah, Obi Toppin definitely dropped a little bit. I believe that's what he was going to say before he. There he is. He's back.
Okay. Did I cut out there a little bit?
Yeah, you said Obi Toppin falling to 8.
Yeah, so you don't need to get off the government internet connection and get a real internet connection.
Yeah, peasant internet I have. Peasant Wi-Fi.
I was talking to your boss the other day. I should have put in a word for you. She was. We were talking about something else though, but her name didn't come up.
This is not Sadiq Bey, and the pick is in.
Tyrese to the Kings. Thank you, KJ.
The pick is in.
About 5 minutes ago.
Oh, Kira Lewis is the pick.
Did they trade this pick yet? Do we know?
No, this pick is made.
I don't know they might, but see in the NBA, I think they have to when it's during the draft. I think they have to pick them, then trade them now.
That's a very fair point by you. That's true. And like I said before the draft, I hate when they put the hat on and it's a different team and it's all stupid. And
Yeah, and then you hold the hat, and then they get lice and shit. So yeah, But yeah, listen, Kira Lewis is somebody who's been flying up the draft boards. I mean, the combo guard scoring, tons of scoring ability. They like him. With the Pelicans, I guess he'll fit into that Drew Holiday mold if he stays. If not, we'll see where he lands, and we'll elaborate there.
Has he popped on late? Other than I guess you had Halliburton at 4, so that was a drop. What was your surprise so far?
As far as drafted too early, Okongwu from USC, who I like. I mean, he's a safe pick, and for Atlanta to take him at 6, I thought was a little early.
Bad fit there too, I think.
Okay, yeah, I can agree with that.
Clint Capella, John Collins. Why do they need him?
Right.
Although I do like the player.
I do like the player too. Like I said, he's a safe guy. He's not going to excite you, but I mean, there's very little weakness in his game.
Well, he's going to excite you when he tears down the rim, though.
Halliburton would have looked good there. That's where I thought he was.
That's where we mocked him last week, Paul. Halliburton playing next to Trae Young, and give him a big guard and let Young run off screens and be more of a scoring threat, with Halliburton being the facilitator and kind of like steadying that back end, because Halliburton can play D10 too, and he would have been a better fit. But
they might flip flop it after the draft. That's like we said, you don't know at the NBA because they just fucking.
All right, let's see. Let's see if he actually puts the hat on. Does he put the Pelicans hat on?
I haven't seen it.
Like, hey,
this kid.
You've been traded. I don't see the hat.
They're keeping the pick. I don't think they're trading it. Yeah, I think they wind up keeping that pick.
You don't see too many basketball players out of Alabama.
Alabama has some decent basketball players, man. I mean, Robert Horry,
2 Chainz.
Well, what's that?
2 Chainz.
2 Chainz.
He played at Alabama.
Avery Johnson. They've had some Robert Williams. The Celtics are on the clock now. Robert Williams.
Well, I mean, they're putting the guys high-fiving, so I guess they're keeping the pick.
Colin Sexton.
I just told you they're keeping the pick.
I don't get to use my pre-made. I was sitting there ready to go. Boston Celtics. I know the three of you just love the Boston Celtics.
I'd love them to drown in the Boston Harbor and choke on every tee they have. A bunch of racist pricks up there.
But they do like players from Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I just saw that, and they're getting one of my favorite players in this draft. Looks like Aaron Nesmith going to Boston. I mean, the guy is an absolute
Deadeye
sharpshooter. Oh my god, man! He just shoots the lights out. And listen, he's going to be a liability on defense. He's not going to rebound. He's not going. You know what I mean? He's not going to slash, but the dude can just shoot it out the building, man. Probably the best shooter in this draft.
He shot 50% from college. I mean,
right? Yeah,
it's not a stretch. But here's the thing with that: where's he play in Boston? They have Kemba, they have Jalen Smith, they have Marcus Smart, they have Brad Wanamaker, who got a ton of minutes in the bubble. Where does he fit? I mean,
that doesn't sound like a bad problem.
He could be a guy. I mean, he could be coming out like the first couple of years. He could be just like your 7th, 8th guy off the bench when you need shooting on the court. I mean, I know they have their rotation is pretty much set. I know they talked about maybe moving Gordon Hayward, but
I
think Hayward's
I
gone.
doubt that.
I mean, but you have at least 6 guys that are in the wing in front of him. I mean, I don't care where you're at in the season, whether you're going to do more load management because of the short season or what. He's not getting many minutes. He's not getting enough minutes to be effective. And at the 14 pick, you kind of want somebody that's going to be a little bit more productive. That's why you've seen Jalen Smith mocked here a lot. I think a stretch 4 would have been a lot more, or even a stretch 5 to take some of the load off of oh my God, I can't even remember the white guy's name. Tease, right?
Oh yeah.
So he had to play a lot in that series, okay, because they didn't want to go with the true center athlete like Robert Williams, so they went with Daniel Teese. I think they should have found somebody, kind of could push him for some more minutes because they're thin in the front court, really. I mean, backcourt, they're loaded. There's, like I said, there's 6 guys. I don't know who Nesmith is going to take.
This is annoying.
Sorry, bro.
I mean,
What happened?
No, I know who the Magic are taking. I'm not really a Magic fan.
Oh, I already mentioned it.
There we go.
Put it up. Yeah.
Cole Anthony from UNC.
So when I was responding to Chuck Graziano earlier, that's what I said that they're looking at him. I mean, although they're seeing progress with Markelle Fultz, they want to guard that'll go in there and pick him up. I had Cole Anthony. See, I did a hedge. So Cole Anthony's over under was 20.5 today. Okay. I bet a lot on Cole, and the Magic rumors were pretty strong, so I bet a lot on Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony getting picked 21, which is the Sixers pick, was plus 800. So I threw a little bit on that and a lot on the under. And if the Sixers picked him, I'd be happy. Plus I would hit. Magic pick him. He gets on there, I'm happy. So I won both ways. So listen, Cole. Yeah, what are we going to do, right?
Well, Houston now at pick 16. I mean, are they going into rebuild now? Like, is this whole thing just falling apart for them? Like, again, so Ariza was moved today. Harden sounds like he's going to get moved. I don't know what they're doing with Russell Westbrook.
Well, Houston came out today and said that Harden was, they'll take their time. They weren't anxious to move Harden. They're going to wait for the right deal, and they're going to kind of do it right because they're just an organization that's kind of like in flux right now. I mean, like we mentioned earlier about the Harden rumors and Daryl Morey leaving and all that kind of stuff. They're trying to jump ship from that owner. Sadiq Bey would be a nice fit here,
Hass, did you see the meme that we made?
I believe I did.
Did you like that?
I did like it. But you know what? Great for the kid. He was actually crying because he's from New York City and he gets to play for his hometown team. But you know what? The Knicks need some good things happening to their organization because they've been a complete disaster. And for them to get a hometown kid.
What are we saying Harden to Philly? What the hell?
Well, that's something Paul Allen's probably out smoking.
Right, yeah.
More.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
I don't know. He's just trolling. But yeah.
He's just, yeah.
I don't know what Nicholas Joseph, but listen, I said Cole Anthony to Orlando 20 minutes ago in the beginning of the show. I mean, it's a shame he's not in Philly, but you know what? That's kind of what we expect him to land. So,
who are you hoping the Sixers get here, Tone?
Well, I mean, early on, Cole Anthony, Kira Lewis, them guys were kind of up the top, but as I seen them rise up the draft board, it really wasn't. I guess feasible anymore. Tonight, I'm just hoping it's not Isaiah Joe. I don't think he's worth that pick at 21, and I don't think once again, why are the Sixers showing their pick? Why are they showing their hand so early? Like they did with the Matisse Thybulle, where they had to trade up to get him. Ridiculous. So, best combo guard available. At this point, a draft at 21, you have to kind of wait and see. Tyrese Maxey, I think, is out there. Wouldn't be bad. I mean, he's Jamal Murray light a little bit.
Didn't they had taken Michael Bridges that one year, the local kid, and then traded him. That was so could they do that again? If a guy like, well, I guess it's not too far now, but could a local kid like Bay fall to them? Would that even be of interest to them?
I think absolutely it should be interested. He's just too much of a talent. He's too good of a shooter. He could kind of work in. The Sixers have some young pieces, obviously, in Simmons and Terrence Ferguson, who I'm a big fan of as well. I think he gives them some. He'll be what Jair Smith never could be. But Bay could fit that rotation. Not sure what they're going to do with Alex Burke. You know, I mean, he's a scorer off the bench. He played well as an ISO scorer. I mean, you really don't know what the roster composition is going to be. Shake Milton, Yamaro Shayak, Matisse Tybel. I mean, where are these Furkan Korkmaz? I mean, who seem like Brett Brown loved them. I don't know if those guys are going to be in Doc Rivers' rotation yet. So, you know, we're going to get a good view of what the Sixers do moving forward from this draft. Yeah. Pull to the Magic, Kev. We got to catch up here, buddy.
That scares me a little bit. Naismith to
Minnesota is acquiring Ricky Rubio 25 and 28 for a package that includes the 17th pick.
Wow. So Rubio back to Minnesota, huh?
They don't regret draft pick at all, huh?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So you got Portland on the clock, and then
the Houston Rockers are on the clock.
The who?
I'll fix it.
What is that?
What happens when I'm typing quickly? And plus, I'm a wrestling fan first and foremost.
Well, there you go.
You're a wrestling fan? I would never guessed. Thunder.
Right, there's your trade right there.
So this is a good move by Thunder. I kind of like it. I mean, they used it. They've had so many picks in the next few years. I mean, they just got another one from Philly earlier today, like we talked about in the Horford trade. I mean, the Thunder give up 2 picks, and they're not going to be able to use every first-round pick. I mean, it just isn't working. And they go up to 17. So I wonder who they're targeting at 17. I mean, it must, be interesting to see who it is. I mean, there's still some talent out there. Like I said, Sadiq Bey, who we mentioned over and over again, is out there. It's a plenty of options for them. We'll have to see what Portland does in a second here.
Now remember, this 16th pick is going to Detroit.
Detroit, right?
In the Ariza trade.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we think for Detroit, who already took Killian Hayes?
Yeah.
Somebody bet $950 on Patrick Williams to go 4th overall at 3,000 to 1, or plus 3,000. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, and just did it yesterday too. I mean, that was, like I said,
$30,000.
Is his name Karnisovich?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that your Twitter guy?
What's that?
Is that your Twitter guy?
That's the president of the Bulls.
Oh. That would make sense then.
He was at Seton Hall with me. Detroit's going to be taking Isaiah Stewart, power forward center from Washington. What's that?
Said Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah, I mean, have you guys seen this kid play? I've seen him play in high school. I've seen him play at Washington. He strong kid, old school, work ethic, athletic, back to the basket kind of player. Not sure how he fits into the modern NBA, but it's interesting to see him go ahead of a guy like Vernon Carey, who is a little bit more productive at Duke, a little bit more scoring threat at Duke. But I guess Detroit, I mean, listen, how you can't question their organization at all.
How's Darko doing?
Exactly. I mean, Stewart, he's raw. That's the first word that comes to my mind. He's long, bro. He's long. He's going to be able to, get his arm, play good defense, get his arms blocked, steals, all that. But he's going to have to work there. He's going to have to work at his game. Like I said, he's pretty raw. So, it'll be interesting to see how he fits in Detroit.
Yeah, his offense kind of stops once he gets out of the paint. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's your typical rebound, put it back, and he's only 6'9", so I don't know what his wingspan is off the top of my head, but
7'5".
7'5" wingspan?
I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, so that helps out a
Yeah.
lot. That helps out a lot. I mean, that makes up for maybe that might be the difference there. For Detroit. Now, I mean, Detroit got away from Andre Drummond. They still have Blake Griffin there. I mean, I don't know how long Blake's going to be there, or why he should be there much longer. I mean, Detroit seems to me like a team without direction.
Right.
You know?
I mean, I feel Blake's got to get to he's got to get to a contender. He's getting late in his career. He's going to be he'll end up on the Lakers.
See, the way I think of it, though, I mean, I'm not
Clippers.
I'm seeing that the Nets are trading the 19th pick.
Oh.
Yeah.
I missed this. I missed the no, I didn't. Cole Anthony Magic. I actually commented that.
Yeah.
Greg Anthony.
Oh, they're just now on the Orlando pick?
Yep. Portland's on the clock right now. On ESPN, yeah. Unless
These guys are really screwed with my pre-created picks here.
Why is that?
Wow, the Nets are trading somebody.
What do you expect? Listen, we jinxed it by talking about how there wasn't any trades.
Yeah,
Uh,
and there hasn't been one normal pick after. So,
so what do we have? We have the Blazers. We have, not the Blazers. We have Detroit. Then you have who's at the Detroit, Minnesota again.
So Oklahoma City's picking at 17.
Oh, that's right, because it was just traded. That's right.
Yeah. So this is Houston's pick. This right here is Houston's pick. Yeah. For proposed trade. So this is still Houston's pick. We don't know who the Nets are trading. We're working on that.
Yeah, they're trading 19 for, I forget what the hell it was. Have we heard anything definite in regards to Clay Anthony? Oh, yeah, Clay Thompson.
It's not good, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is it definitely the Achilles?
Well, he couldn't put weight on it when he left practice.
What a pussy.
I did report Achilles. Wow.
He could have put weight on it.
Yeah, honestly, I've never seen guys cry like this. It's a little.
Well, but again, this is again we've watched now the NBA, the NFL draft, the NHL draft, where it's just not what we're used to seeing.
Right.
And again, these guys are usually in New York, wherever they're doing the draft. They come out, they put the hat on. Like you're surrounded by your entire family. You're not in that environment, so you react differently.
Here's the Minnesota pick. Like I said earlier, that we're talking about teams with multiple first rounders taking prospects, overseas foreign prospects that might or may not come over. They're taking Aleksej Podovetsky.
Alexei Pokusevsky.
Yeah,
you said earlier, Tony.
Dude,
right?
the guy has amazing court vision for only 18 years old. He can shoot the three. He's got to really work on his inside game, but another raw European prospect. But you know what?
Yeah.
Minnesota can afford to wait.
Yeah.
Well, I think the readings over him were kind of either he can be extremely good as far as like talking about almost the next Dirk Nowitzki, or he could be a flash in the pan as Dragon Bender and some of these guys who just kind of faded away, like I mentioned him earlier. So I mean, it'll see. It's all about his development, and I don't know if Minnesota is the place to develop. They haven't really proven that that you're not really seeing a lot of internal development there. I mean, Wiggins was a bust for the most part. Karl Anthony Towns has a lot of
Looked like he had some potential.
Who's that?
Cat.
Yeah, but he has huge holes in his game. I mean, he has no effort on defense. I mean, Jimmy Butler wanted to kill the entire team. Last year, they did Jared Culver, who's been an absolute disaster. The only young player that I can see came there, Joshua Okogie, has shown some, glimpses of being a defensive stopper, but that he's very limited as well. So I mean, it's maybe they went to the Brett Brown developmental school. At least a couple guys are all NBA players in Philly.
So this was
Brian spelled it right.
going
too.
to Oklahoma City, correct?
This is Minnesota's going to make this pick for Oklahoma City.
Okusevsky, yeah.
Oklahoma City's targeting Serbia.
Okay.
Then see now Brian's a little bit more comfortable because that's like a hockey name.
Alexei Pokusevsky, yeah, very much so. I never really seen Alexei with the J at the end.
Yeah, I'm
Them
not.
Serbian names, you gotta, bunch of letters are silent.
You should know that it's hard. Come on, man. You know.
I never seen Alexei with a J at the end. That's all. I seen an Andre with a J at the end.
Well, he's a basketball player, so he has to have a J in his name.
Right.
Might be the only one he has.
I see what you did there.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Pay attention. There'll be more. Yeah. So you Sixers fans, you getting excited or what? Creeping up to the pick.
There's some good players still there, man.
Yes, very.
Both Bays, Hampton, Devin Vassell. I mean,
Vassell's somebody who got a lot of hype early, but he's
falling down the boards, yeah.
And Paul got up there.
What the fuck is mom?
I mean, listen, Vassell is a solid two-way wing player. He's not going to be – he's not a big scorer, but he can play. He's good on defensive end. He's solid on the offensive end. He's a solid shooter. You'd like to see him maybe get to the line a little more, but other than that, I mean, there's not a lot of big flaws in his game.
Yeah, but I don't think he's the type of player. I think the type of player the Sixers. The Sixers have that type of player. To be honest with you, I mean, you resign Alex Burke, and you kind of already have that player. And Alex Burke is probably better than him, much better than him at this point.
Sure.
Listen, they need another ball handler. Shake Milton is not a point guard. He's not really even a combo guard. He's more of a shooting guard, and he needs to be set up. And and then after him, they really don't have many. Raul Neto shouldn't be on his team tomorrow, and them guys. I mean, they're. So I think that's where they need to really address it.
I mean, listen, RJ Hampton is your more prototypical point guard.
Clippers are trading Landry Shamet to the Nets for 19.
Yeah, can we have him back?
No, I mean, listen, everybody, we're not a big fan of that trade. I mean, we lost the first round in it, we lost Landry in it, but at the same time, Landry Shamet, he's got some work to do in his game. I mean, sure. he would fit in that, but people were a little bit overact. I mean, we didn't trade fucking, Allen Iverson away. We traded.
True, but we'd love to have him coming off the bench here. That's for sure.
Well, I mean,
over some of these guys that they're putting out there.
That's the problem right there. I mean, you're running out Furkan Korkmaz and these guys when you don't even know. Like what are you doing? Like if Furkan Kuzma goes out there and he doesn't hit his first 3-pointer, you might as well just take him off the court. Because because he does nothing else for you. I mean, it's kind of like when JJ Redick was here, it's fine when you're playing 4-on-5 against defense because he's going out there and hitting putting up 19 points consistently and shooting the three consistently. Korkmaz doesn't do that, and the guys coming off the bench for the Sixers weren't doing that. So. I mean, there's Precious Achiuwa out there, so this is for the Clippers.
Yeah, huh? We're getting close to pick 20 here. Hess, I was just told that Sadiq Bey is a top 10 pick in this draft. I mean, I'm not a big numbers guy, but it seems like we're getting further and further away from 10. I don't think that's the way it was drawn up.
The top 10 was a little reaching a little bit.
All right, so we're
a little bit of the pom poms, a little bit. So when it came to the 11th pick and he wasn't in the top 10, I said he's going to be picked soon.
Hold on, where are we at here with these picks here?
Timberwolves.
I thought we were on.
This is Alexei Pokusevsky. Yeah.
All right, so who's up next? Dallas. Dallas takes Josh Green. at 18. The 19th pick. Okay, because that's right, guys. The 19th pick. You forgot that they are also the Pistons are also the Clippers are getting Luke Kennard and 19. That's a big miss there because Luke Kennard is a player. I mean, he's
Well, that wasn't on the report.
well,
Oh,
no,
okay.
I mean,
That got dropped now. That it's a 3-team trade with Detroit. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, if you look now, I mean, these trades kind of are like almost like work in progresses. You know, I mean, like the Bogdanovich trade is null and void now because he doesn't want to play in Milwaukee.
Right.
The Sixers and Horford trade actually is going to be a 3-way trade because they have the lump in the Dennis Schroeder with the Lakers. So that they got to kind of work that in too. You know, it's with Oklahoma City, you know, and that's going to be a part of, you know, it's like, I think they're going to work as actually like a 3-way trade. So, I mean, these trades are, even though they're announced, you know, because everyone wants to be the first to announce it, they're almost kind of like work in progress almost. Like they have the deal in place, but, you know.
So there's your.
So who we got? Josh, hold on. Who do you have?
You just said.
Yeah, Dallas just took Josh Green.
Josh Green.
What? Yeah, but didn't you say? Did it say Australia or Arizona?
Arizona. It said Arizona, Australia from the notes I had.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, he's from Australia, yes.
Yeah. I didn't see the Australia, so I thought it might have been RJ Hampton because he played over at
Dude, this
He's like New Zealand or something, right?
This pick has been traded around a bunch of times.
What, the 19th?
Yeah.
I mean,
it was originally the Clippers. Then it went to the Sixers. Then it went to Brooklyn. Then it went back to the Clippers. Then it went to the Pistons.
well, this was the pick that I believe the Sixers got way back when, and then they traded it. And was this the pick where they were talking about wanting it for the Miami? Was this the Miami pick that they got that they covered it so much or something like that?
Miami's at 20.
No. I'm talking about a few years ago.
Yeah.
I
mean, listen, this literally is how I have it from Los Angeles via Brooklyn, via Philadelphia, via Los Angeles.
Okay, so yeah, it's not the pick because I know there was a pick because I guess I thought it was the 2021 pick, but it might be the 2022 pick, which everybody wanted the Miami.
This was here you go, the Jeremy Grant trade
from OKC. Yeah.
All right, and
that's right.
The Fultz trade. No, this was it was a 3-team deal. Markelle Fultz was involved in this. Fultz went to Orlando. Jeremy Grant went to Oklahoma City, and we got Pasekniks.
No, that's not correct. Yeah, Markelle Fultz was traded for what the hell's the guy's name? He's not even really in the NBA anymore.
Pasekniks.
No. Markelle Fultz to the Magic?
Yeah.
No, he was traded for you'd recognize him. He's a journeyman. Oh. Let me pull it up real quick. You're going to be like, what the hell? Like it was Jonathan Simmons.
Ah, that's right. Yeah.
That was one of the worst trades that you could possibly like you would rather have Fultz rot on your bench or do anything than have Jonathan Simmons on in your lineup. Like it just didn't. It just
Ryan Havermail, Sadiq isn't even the best Bay in this draft.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I thought both of them would be gone by now.
You thought Tyler would be gone?
Yeah, I had them both around 15, 16. So this 19th pick that the Clippers just traded to the Nets. Or the Nets, or whatever. The Nets traded to the
Clippers to Pistons. This is a Detroit
right.
pick.
This was originally the Sixers pick.
It was originally the Clippers pick, then the Sixers.
Well, we traded it to the Clippers for Tobias Harris.
Right, I thought so.
Okay.
And this is the Zaire Smith blah 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 bullshit.
I mean, these picks you're trying to track where these picks go. It's unbelievable. They get traded 5-6 times.
I mean, who is this gentleman from Villanova that you guys are trashing all night?
Anthony Morello.
Oh,
Not
okay.
from Villanova, just has a hard on for him.
I was going to say because I don't think I don't think Morrell even was able to spell college, let alone get into one. What was he? Was he shine tires at AutoZone or some shit? I love how I'm busting some of these balls, and you guys just shut the fuck up. It's great.
But he's not even here to defend himself.
Would he? He just whine a little bit.
That would be fact. Yes.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, so we got who? Detroit's on the clock now.
In a way, yes.
So, but who actually owns the pick?
I believe the Nets are going to make the pick for Detroit.
Okay, but Detroit has the pick.
This is going to end up in Detroit. Yeah. Kennard went to the Clippers. Shamet went to the Nets. Pick's going to go to Detroit.
Gotcha.
Bay is finally going here to Detroit.
So what it was? Who did they just pick? Didn't they just pick somebody else as well?
Yeah, they took. Christ.
So the first round they took Killian Hayes. Then they took. That's it, right? Detroit, Killian Hayes.
Yeah, they took him at 7. But they just took Stewart at 16.
That's right, but they acquired 16 from somebody, didn't they? Wow, Portland. They acquired it from Portland. That's what it was.
Well,
they just traded to
no,
get
they got it from Houston.
16.
Yeah, Houston traded 16 and Ariza to clear out cap space and get the exception.
ESPN has it as far as Portland, but either way. So you have Isaiah Stewart in there, and then you have.
It was originally.
So they're going to sit here and they're going to go with Isaiah Stewart, Killian Hayes, and Sadiq Bey. I mean, they're pretty much redoing all levels of their team. I mean, they went big, they went guard, and then they went forward. I mean,
yep.
It is a team that kind of needs everything, so you can't be too surprised. But I don't know if I'm in love with any of the players that they drafted. You know, I mean, what do you think about that whole? I mean, I think they're solid, but I don't know if it's something that you're going to like. This is a draft with these 3 first rounders, and we know how NBA contracts work. Is they're all going to be coming up, you know, to the next level of their contract all at the same time. You know, is this a team that is this a solid 3 that you'd like to have for the next 4 or 5 years?
I mean, if you're Detroit, then you with 3 top 20 picks. He's actually putting on the right hat. That's good. There you go, Brian T. Put on the Pistons hat.
Listen, you know what? That's good. That's good. That's, you know.
But if you're Detroit and you take 3 top 20 picks, you got to be happy if 2 of them pan out.
All right, so he's putting on the Nets hat, but he's actually going to. Is that what he did?
No, he put on the Pistons hat, even though.
Oh, he did put on the Pistons hat. Okay, I'm not really watching. Okay, yeah, here's the Pistons, and that's amazing. Let's see, what I'm looking. He has the Timberwolves hat in the background. He had the Pistons. I mean, how many hats do they send a kid?
They send every team.
That's great.
They send every team.
Yeah. I'd just like to see him.
At least it's just hats. In hockey, they send jerseys.
Do they send every jersey?
Yeah. Well, this year they did.
That probably sets them back a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, they only sent one to Alexi Lafreniere, but, you know. They knew.
Yeah, see, I'm gonna agree with KG here. I don't know why the picture isn't popping up. I see that's happening a little bit. Yeah, I'm not impressed with this haul at all. I mean, if they deal Kyle Burton, I think see. I've seen people on the Ringer and stuff like that have Killian Hayes as their number 1 overall player, though. So, like, people are all over the board with Killian Hayes. Yeah, Ryan Russillo and them guys they were talking about earlier today. I mean,
hold on. These are Villanova players. Don't they all stink?
Who are you talking about?
All these Villanova players: Bridges, DiVincenzo, Spellman, Brunson, Paschal. and Bay. I mean, all these guys drafted since 2018. I don't recall any of them even making an impact in the pro.
Well, no, they don't stink. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm a little bit lag because I'm watching a stream here on the laptop as we're broadcasting. But Michael Bridges has been solid. Dante Vincenzo, I can't say nothing too bad. Amari Spellman has been a pleasant surprise. Eric Parasho hasn't been bad. Jalen Brunson,
Rodney Magruder is leaving the Clippers for the Pistons as part of that 3-team deal.
Rodney Magruder, okay. I like it.
That's Scooter's cousin.
I was going to say the same exact thing.
That's funny. But yeah, I'm underwhelmed by the Pistons haul though. They didn't really give up too much because Luke Kennard wasn't really going to plan on playing for them anyway. But
right.
If I'm a Pistons fan, am I hyped up that we got these 3 new players? Not really.
All right, so listen, we're getting closer and closer. What do you want? They got 1 pick here. What do you want? Who's left that you want?
Who are you talking about? Oh, the
Sixers.
So where are we at here? We're at 20.
This is the Heat at 20.
We got to see who the Heat pick first. I mean, so yeah,
RJ right now. Maybe they'll take him. They'll take him before you do.
I know they've been having a ton of contact with Tyrell Terry. I don't know if that's what I'd be looking at. I mean, he does have a RJ Hampton is another one. Tyrese Maxey.
Is it definitely a guard?
Desmond Bain. Don't you think it has to be? I mean, unless they're trying to backfill Daniels from Washington, another Washington player. I don't know if I'll be able to tell. To be honest with you. I mean, really, let's be honest here. Yeah.
Tankathon has the Sixers knocking to Malachi Flynn from San Diego State.
Say that again?
So Tankathon has
Malachi Flynn from
San Diego. Flynn mocked to the Sixers.
Well, I was just going to say this game, but he was just picked by Precious Ancho was just picked by the Heat. I was going to say if they were going to look to backfill for Horford, Ancho would be the guy that I would go with as a big. So now the Sixers are on the clock.
Let's go.
Going to be interesting. I mean, I like the Ancho pick. You have Desmond Bain, who's out there. What are your thoughts on Desmond Bain? I'm a little mixed on him.
I've seen a couple of mocks with the Sixers taking him.
Yeah.
He's a senior.
Yeah.
4-year player at TCU. So.
All right,
he can shoot. Kid can shoot. I mean, he's a good rebounder. So.
Well, the thing that's weird, I mean, if you've seen his build, I mean, he looks like a bodybuilder or like a power forward or something like that. But the thing with him is his wingspan is shorter than his height, which is incredibly odd in the NBA.
Right.
Last person I recall is JJ Redick that had that issue. Which I don't know if you want to call it an issue or not, or how, I mean, obviously it affects Redick on the defensive end, but
right.
It's definitely going to be going to be something to wonder if we.
I mean, for a 6'5" guy, he was getting 6.5 rebounds a game. So.
Yeah, no, he plays hard. He's a senior. He's built like that. Tyrese Maxey is probably who I would. Chuck just put it up. Tyrese Maxey is probably who I would lean to. I just think the production from like a guy like Devin Booker and a guy like Jamal Murray, who Maxey's been pledging, none of them are super athletes, but they're good with the ball and they could shoot it. And I think Maxey, is trying to, work on that. I think, and he's more of that combo guard.
Right. Maxey, Hampton, their good combo guard seems to be, the need, somebody that can play both guard spots.
Well, here's the thing too. RJ Hampton, I mean, he's a player who struggled in Australia, but when you talk about upside, like we were talking about Cole Anthony, like Hampton was top 5 coming out of high school. I mean, he was, he is that essence combo guard, and I'd be happy with Hampton as well. I mean, just because the talent is there, and you really can't deny that. Yeah, so we'll see where that goes. I mean, Ochoa to Phil. I mean, is there more of a Miami player than Prentice Ochoa in this draft? Yeah, maybe the kid from Kansas, Azubuike, who's going to be a second-round pick. That I would love to see the Sixers get now. Active rebounder. But I mean, Prentice Ochoa, a hardworking, a little bit undersized player that just crushes it.
There's Mr. 3-1 lead himself, Doc Rivers.
Yeah,
I mean, what do you think about these Duke kids who are projected to be in like 20s? Yeah, I know you guys.
Nobody here likes Duke.
Trey Jones, Vernon Carey, Cassius Stanley, projected to be mid to late first rounders.
Well, listen, I mean, if you're talking about right here, I don't want any of them here, to be honest with you. I mean, I was a little, like I said, I'm a little surprised. I'm a little surprised that Isaiah Stewart was taking over Vernon Carey. I think Carey is just more of a complete player than Stewart at this point. But we'll see what happens with that. Cassius Stanley, I mean, you're talking about, he almost looks like a clone. Okay, here we go. Sixers pick is in. Tyrese Maxey. I like it. All right. What happened to Huss? What happened to Hess? Sixers are taking Tyrese Maxey, which, listen, I'm a big fan of the pick. I think that, it's a need. Somebody that we could play. Hess, you alive or what's going on here, bud? You never look better. You have that youthful glow.
I don't know what he just did.
Did you update that, Bri?
I did. Hess, can you hear us?
No.
All right.
There we go.
So Maxey's the pick, Hess. What do you think?
It's a fine pick. You're picking 21st in the draft. I mean, you're not going to get an absolute stud. I'm fine with it. He's not the greatest shooter, but he's pretty efficient. Good facilitator. It's a good free throw shooter. It definitely fills a need. So I'm not upset with it. I think he was one of the top 3 still available. So,
and if it's a need, I mean, I would have been happy with him. I would have been happy with RJ Hampton. Both of those guys, I think, fit a need. I mean, they could come in, they could play alongside Ben. See how they develop. I think I think he's probably an upgrade over Shake Milton immediately. But I watched his workout on ESPN. I don't know, if you get a chance to see his workout on ESPN? He was on there with Anthony Edwards in a couple weeks ago when they had the virtual workout for him. I believe he's a Clutch Sports guy. That's Ben too. So that might be part of the relationship there. Him with Clutch. So sharing the same management. Some of you see now. I mean, how they work that. That's really what you're. It seems like that's where a lot of the player movement has gone. Everybody stares on the same agent. So now you have, Ben has one of his Clutch Sports brethren with him, and he fits. I think they fit well together on the basketball court.
Yeah, I agree. While we're on the topic of the Sixers, since I just picked, I'm sure you guys already talked about this. Your thoughts on the Al Horford trade?
Clear money out. It was a bad deal when they started. It was a knee-jerk reaction deal, I felt, when they realized, they gave Tobias the max, whether you think he's worth it or not. They gave it to him because they had the money, and they had other money, and he was there, and they tried to make it work. It didn't work. They got out of it. It's a pick they're not going to regret because it's going to be further away. And I think for Oklahoma City, they get a future pick. I think they have picks now. They're not going to use these picks. And if the Sixers are going to fall off the face of the earth, they got a better shot doing it by 2025 than the next couple of years. So for them, it's an upside pick.
Well, like I said, if the fixtures fall off the face of the earth by 2025, then there's some major issues in here. I mean, basically Oklahoma City had money to burn, and they were able to get pay $80 million about for a first and second round pick. I mean, they got the Danny Green acquisition for the Sixers is going to improve. Hopefully the locker room, if nothing else. I'm not expecting a huge impact on the floor, but I mean, if you directly put him as your stretch four to start off the season, I mean, Danny Green's been getting a lot of heat, but let's not forget he just won an NBA championship. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he does have a viable role in the NBA still. I mean, he played against next to LeBron. He played against them, and he played major minutes in the NBA Finals. That has to be worth something. I mean, nobody's really excited about him. And Terrence Ferguson gives you a great athlete on the wing. I mean, he got to develop him.
To Brian Attard's point, they had the money, so they decided to bring in Horford last offseason. You know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of when the Eagles signed DeMarco Murray under Chip Kelly. Just because they had the money, it was like, oh, he's like the best guy still available. So, let's bring him in. What the hell? It was a complete disaster.
It worked out just as good.
Exactly. So it was Elton Brand's mistake, and Daryl Morey came in and cleaned it up. I think this was a brilliant move. You get rid of maybe the worst contract in the league, all right? Because you gave the guy max money, and he absolutely hit a wall. 14-8 last year. I'm surprised his numbers were that good because just by watching the games, you could tell he just was not a good fit in that offense. Not at all. Which was surprising to me because I'm like, playing next to Embiid, I figured, Brett Brown would find a way to make this work, and it just never, ever, ever happened. It never happened. And I'm surprised. I know. Why would I think that would ever happen?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not going to bash Al Horford. I didn't like that he didn't provide any leadership in the locker room, but but he was just a square peg, round hole. And there were squares right. It's like there's squares right next to him and places where he would fit. And Brett Brown never put him in that situation, never. Now, also the situation that Horford was in. He bricked a ton of open threes. He missed a ton of open shots, and you can't blame Brett Brown for that or anybody else because, one of the things that Ben Simmons does, and you can look at this analytically, is no team had more open threes than the Philadelphia 76ers. Ben Simmons set everybody up for open threes, and they still weren't a good shooting team. So,
right.
And Al Horford was a big part of it because he went through a dreadful stretch and looked lost. And a veteran player like that, you would think that he would be able to figure it out and get everybody together, So he's gone. I wish him the best. I think he's still going to be productive wherever he goes. If he gets major minutes in Oklahoma City, which I don't think it's a good fit next to Steven Adams right away, he'll go 15, 16, and 10 ish. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll put up decent numbers. I mean, I don't think he's just going to go away, but he's definitely not worth what the Sixers paid for him.
Yeah, definitely not. And I mean, with the Thunder, trading away Chris Paul earlier this week, they're not going to be, what were they, the 5 seed in this past playoffs, something like that, and they're not going to be as good. So you saw what they're accumulating as far as picks in these drafts. I mean, they just consolidated them to move up into 17 in this draft. So for them to take a pick 5 years from now, and like you said, Tone, if that pick turns out to be something, which it's slightly protected, by the way.
So it's a top 6 protected.
Top 6, there you go. That pick should not be in the top 20.
No,
Okay.
not at all.
And if it is, then there's something seriously went wrong here. Even 5 years down the road.
No, but what I'm saying is,
because-
but isn't it more likely to have those problems in 25 than in 21?
Sure.
Like you kind of know what this team is right now. The unknown is in the future. If you know how these basketball teams are. I mean, again, if the windows are like here, there's a 3 to 4 year window. That's like year 4. So they're banking on, if we're going to get a 1, let's get it when we maybe they think they're going to be good next year. That's why they don't want this next year's pick, or they thought
they already have a ton of picks.
Right, and you keep rolling them out. You can't play all these guys. It's not like the NFL where you find spots for guys. Your roster is only so big.
And speaking of, this is not the NFL, is people getting upset that we traded away a first-round pick for Danny Green. Who cares? It's we got rid of Horford's contract. People want to treat this like it's the NFL, where people hold on to first-round picks like like they're gold. Like,
when you give
it's a first-round pick in the NBA, you're not picking in the top 5, top 10. Your chances of finding an impact stud player are very, very low.
And here's the thing, too. Even if they are picking in the top 5, it's protected top 6.
Zeke Nnaji?
Yeah, the kid from Arizona. Yeah, so I mean, that's to say, like, I think Joel Embiid's contract would be up by then, and I think Ben Simmons' contract is up in 2024. So the Sixers' window to be very good in those 4 years is still very, very high. What Embiid and them guys are going to be demanding, on the next contract, they'll see what, that'll be dictated, how their success is coming up to that. But I don't see any way where if Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons are still on his team in the next 4 years that you're going to have to worry about that pick being in the 8 to 9 range, 10 range, and stuff like that, and losing it. Yeah, and it could be one of them picks too, and I haven't heard the conditions of it, because a lot of times if that pick doesn't convert in 2025, it goes to a second round pick, or a pick swap. So I mean, who knows? I think it's if you wanted the situation with the Sixers are quite easy. You have a 4-year window to be great with these players, how they are right now, and Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. You need to do everything you can, create cap space, get rid of a guy like Horford, and go for it. And this move allows that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what they're going to do with that space that they just opened up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a fish. Let's see if I can pull up there. Let me pull up their salary cap for this year. If it's still there. I don't have it yet.
Because he was getting what, 32, Horford?
This year, yeah. I mean, they were combining.
It's such insane money.
Well, I mean,
for middling,
the NBA money's going up. Their salaries have gone up a ton
for middling players.
7-8 years.
Al Horford was getting $27 million.
27, okay.
Which 32, 27, yeah, depending on where you're at. But yeah, I mean, they're part of $1 billion organization. I mean, and it's just how it is. I mean, we talk about guys like I don't know, Shake Milton or whatever, or I mean, Danny Green this year is making $19 million. I mean, these guys get paid a lot of money. And that's selling a lot of sneakers and a lot of television revenue.
Right. I mean, I'm more interested to see. I mean, I know Danny's making 19, so you don't have the space for this offseason, but he's got 1 year left.
Well, yeah, and this offseason wasn't you weren't really it wasn't really too viable that you're going to sign somebody. Who are you going to bring in? That would Anthony Davis isn't going to come here. He's going back to LA. I'm trying to think who the other free agents are. I mean, that's how bad the class is. Gallinari, you don't bring Gallinari in as your starting forward or small forward to shoot the ball. Maybe, but I mean, you're not going to want to pay him.
Never been a Danilo fan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're not going to pay him the money where that it would be worth it. I'd clear the space, fill in the rest of your roster, re-sign Alex Burke. I think Alex Burke, deserves a contract here in Philly for what he did last year, and
sure,
go on.
I think that's what it is. It was to get them, under the luxury tax, and it does create enough room where you maybe can bring in a shooter or two, maybe some buyouts, like Ilyasova and Bellinelli from a couple years ago, like those kind of guys that you can bring in, like veteran minimum guys, shooters off the bench.
That's what I'm saying. Like you have your veteran minimum, you have your mid-level exemption and stuff, right. and that's why I pointed out earlier that the Mitchell pick who got traded over into this, who I think he's actually going to be a pretty good prospect. This Mixic that went over to Oklahoma City. Hear great things about him recently too, especially his development. Right. But the Sixers, he's past his rookie deal, and the Sixers had nowhere to put him. They couldn't sign him, because he wanted money, and he was off his rookie year, so he'd have to be a true free agent, and they held his right, so that's what they had to do with him. So it's going to be interesting. So we got the Knicks at 23 now.
The Knicks at 23.
Who were their first two picks? Do you have that up, Brian?
Obi Toppin, and I don't think they picked another pick, did they?
That's it. Yeah, just Obi Toppin.
Oh. See, if I'm the Knicks here, I think I look at you definitely have to look at a point guard.
Well, Hampton's there for him. I think this is to be a no-brainer for them.
Yeah, that's the name I was going to pick. If they wanted more of a traditional point guard, maybe this might where you see Malachi Flynn go, or something like that. So it'd be interesting to see what the New York Knicks. I mean, if
Mike Missanelli likes the pick for the Sixers, so it's probably terrible.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Kentucky shooting guards have had a nice run lately, so we'll see how that pans out. It's way too early to tell. I mean, when you're picking 21st in the draft, it's a little bit different. It's not like the NFL too, where 21st you're picking a draft, you're expecting to get a starter with your first round picks, unless you're Green Bay, and then you just want to flush it down the toilet. Yeah, so.
Team president Leon Rose says Obi Toppin was one of the highest players on the New York Knicks draft board. Well, I mean, he was projected top 5 pick, so that's not surprising. So the Knicks did go point guard, but not the one you thought, and it was the one I was looking at my list, and I thought it might be.
The Argentinian kid,
Leandro Bolmaro.
That's a horrible pick. Horrible.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Not one bit.
Listen, he's not a good shooter at all. Listen, last year, 26% field goal percentage, 19% from 3-point range. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just not is this such a New York pick too?
This was Utah's pick. They moved up. Which is ironic, though, right? I mean, like, these guys are moving up in a draft well before it happens. Like, do they know their guy's going to be there? I mean,
they're just using intel and stuff like that they think they know. But if it seems like once you think the top end pick, and then you get Bolmaro, and once you think that the Knicks have a plan, and they kind of just throw it all in the toilet. I mean, there's some people that were a little bit high on Bolmaro because of some of the intangibles of a Euro player, but I just don't see it. I mean, he's got big, he's got that big size, and he's a facilitator, and I guess they'll play him next to Hampton, and I mean he might even be a little bit bigger than Toppin actually, but he's not a shooter, and I don't know. I just don't see how the New York Knicks fans embrace this pick either.
I'm watching a little bit of tape on him now. Surprised there is tape, but
listen, he's Argentine, and he's not.
You're not going to see much, but there is some.
Yeah, I've seen tape on him too. I mean, he's kind of like a. Like I said, he's a facilitator for
Yeah. I mean, he's got good vision.
Yeah.
Passes are good. I mean, I gave you his field goal percentage. Looks like he's got decent moves to the rim. Not sure how well they're going to work in the NBA, though.
Well, that's the thing. It's. I mean, I guess when you talk about Argentine basketball, I guess you have to talk about Manu, right? I mean, and he's not really. Manu was never the athlete, but he was crafty, he was creative, and a good IQ.
So, Woj just tweeted, Bolmaro is actually going to Minnesota in a trade. So he's not going to the Knicks.
Well, I think that's going to make him happy.
Brown, I guess, is a Warriors fan. That he will do good about Wiseman. Welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Wiseman pick is a phenomenal pick for them. I mean, and we talked. I know, Hess, you weren't with us when we talked about the Wiseman pick earlier in the show. I mean, ideally, Golden State takes that pick and trades it for an all-star that could effectively help them, or packages it with Wiggins and gives them another superstar player to give them that third.
That's what I thought they were going to do originally.
Well, yeah, but there wasn't enough. The pick itself didn't have enough value.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like the pick, like Weissman. I mean, although he's a prospect, like the top three players.
Knicks are real quick. Knicks are trading Bolmaro to Minnesota for 25 and 33. Didn't they just move up?
Yeah, they moved up from 27. Wow, that's weird.
Well, maybe. I mean, maybe they got a deal. I mean, that's pretty good value for a player that they probably had no. I mean, if you don't have any want for this guy, and there's a team that wants to trade up to draft him, I mean, obviously that was their target. I mean, why not get and they might have two players that they might like better, and maybe RJ Hampton's there, who we feel is a better fit.
Right. So going back to the Warriors and Wiseman, I mean, like you were saying, with the pick wasn't enough value. And that just goes to show you how this isn't a strong draft. It's not a completely weak draft either, but
right.
There wasn't like one, two, three studs that you knew. Like last year, Zion and Ja Morant were going to be great, right? Yeah. So yes, the 2 pick didn't have the allure that a number 2 pick usually has. So maybe the Warriors just didn't find the trade value that they were looking for. And look, they take James Wiseman, who, in my mind, it was the best player in this draft. Yes, I know the sample size was small. He only played 3 games at Memphis. Then he left because of the recruiting violation allegations, and it is what it is. But the guy was the number 1 recruit coming out of high school. His ceiling is sky high. Yeah. And there you go. Now RJ Hampton goes to Milwaukee.
Yeah. I think the thing with Wiseman
how this pick got here, but this pick's actually for 24. It says New Orleans is selecting RJ Hampton for the Nuggets, but that's clearly not because it's Milwaukee.
Proposed trade to the Pelicans.
Yeah, that's what happened. And RJ Hampton would be a nice fit down there too. Yeah,
New Orleans is selecting. I don't know. This is all over.
Come on, keep up there, producer.
Wait a minute. So actually, So New Orleans is taking this for another trade. New Orleans got the pick to flip.
There you go. That's what you got to do. Buy them, flip them, get that equity. It's all about the assets, like our boy Hinkie used to say. But the pick with Golden State has for Weissman. I mean, as we talked about it earlier, is Weissman helps now immediately, and he could be a phenomenal building block for the future. And this might not be the best draft as far as top heavy. Like Paul was on earlier and said, "Oh, it's a 3-person draft." Blah blah blah. No, I disagree with that completely. I mean, let's just take a guy like Kira Lewis or Tyrese Maxey or something like that. If one of these later guys develops to be the best player out of this draft, would you really be surprised? I wouldn't.
Nope.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like if RJ Hampton, who was just drafted, becomes the best shooting guard out of this draft, I don't think no one would extremely be surprised. There's a lot of parity. I mean, the top 3 picks have like the most potential talent, blah blah blah. But there's tons of picks in this draft that I think there's value down the line. And a player that was drafted in the top 10 and players drafted after 20. I mean, I think you could be kind of negligible, and I think you really see where you could get some value at. So yeah,
follow the yellow brick road here of who's got what pick, and this is nuts.
That's the NBA draft for you, man.
It's just stupid. I mean, these picks, it's like you buy the market.
I love the RJ Hampton pick, though. I mean, we said before I would have been happy if he was a Sixer. I mean, I think that pick. Listen, you're drafting talent. I mean, talent and potential gets a lot of coach fired, but at that pick in 24, I mean, it was a 23 pick, the 24th pick. So that's definitely going to Denver.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
that is going to Denver per Woj.
I mean, if you see what the Nuggets team did in the bubble. I mean, with Jamal Murray out there, with Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., I want to cry every time I mention his name on draft night. But especially having to talk about Zaire Smith earlier and Porter Jr., it just makes my stomach crawl. But RJ Hampton, he's somebody who's not going to have that immediate. We need you to come and develop and play now. I mean, he could find a nice role in that Nuggets team. It seems to do a very good job developing talent. I mean, hell, they got friggin' Grant out there playing. I mean, we watched that playoff series and Hess. I know you've seen some of it. I mean, when's the last time you seen Jaren Grant?
So
double teamed in the post.
I didn't have Emmanuel quickly on my board, but I guess he's the one going to the Knicks.
Yeah, I have him I had him as a mid-second round pick, but this guy can shoot. You know what I mean? He's a good 3-point shooter. He's got to find his mid-range game, I think, and yeah.
Yeah.
From Kentucky, another Kentucky kid. Can play either guard spot.
Yeah. So
what happened?
This is the Knicks pick, Emmanuel quickly.
Yeah, I mean he improved everything about his game. Once he got more playing time since Hero and them guys were gone. I would have liked to see the Knicks take a little bit more of a truer point guard. I mean, they already have a lot of ball dominant guys in RJ Barrett. You bring in Obi Toppin. I mean, but quickly does give you some effort on defense. So I think that might be what the Knicks kind of are trying to fill out that starting five with. So I mean, you're looking at. I mean, does Kevin Knox have a future in New York still?
That's a big question. That is a big question mark.
Yeah, I mean,
I liked him coming out of the draft and going to the Knicks. I thought that was a good fit for him, but he's been kind of disappointing, I think.
That's an understatement, yeah. Yeah, but
yeah. So,
I mean, if you're the Knicks, I mean, do you just throw Emmanuel quickly, RJ Barrett, Kevin Knox, Obi Toppin, and Mitchell Robinson out there and give them 25 to 35 minutes a game and see what you have? I mean, it seemed. See, the Knicks confused me when they brought in like Julius Randle and a couple of these other pieces that are just eating up minutes. Why just develop? You have no chance of winning
because they missed out. Remember, they missed out on all the big free agents last year.
They tried to
all this money left, and they were just like, okay, here's a 2-year deal for you. They played Oprah. Here's a 2-year deal for you. Here's a 2-year deal for you. And just did not pan out well, obviously.
Well, here's the thing, and I say it all the time. Everybody's like, "Oh, well, we have to get cap space. We have to get cap space." Well, cap space is great, but you know what? You have to be able to use it. There's a huge misconception among these Philadelphia 76ers fans in the area that Philadelphia is somehow a destination for free agents, and it hasn't been. It really never has been a destination for free agents. I mean, they signed Elton Brand, they signed Al Horford. They've overpaid for players as free agents, There's never been
going back forever.
He can come here. I mean, if you
Chris
want
Webber,
argue,
Glenn Robinson. I mean, you can on and on and on.
all past their prime, overpaid,
Right.
all past their prime.
Yep.
Derek Coleman's one and only brings to mind. Now,
Yeah,
here's the
I was
thing:
just going to say him too.
the last one you could actually argue, and it's not really a free agent, is Moses Malone.
Yeah, he was a trade.
He was technically traded, but he kind of forced the trade.
Right.
Because he was going to leave so it was kind of like a sign and trade kind of deal. So it kind of, so, I mean, you're talking about, I mean, and that's like, people want to say, oh, people are snacking teams and stuff like that. Well, the Sixers back in the, 83 or whatever it was, took the reigning MVP and signed them. So talk about stacking teams, I mean, that would be like Giannis going in and signing with one of the top teams, the Heat or something. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the stacking teams is going back a long way, like you said. Just they went about it a little more underhandedly. You know what I mean? They weren't as upfront about it as they are now. Because they didn't have obviously everything's more out in the open now with social media, and it's like pretty much open recruiting season with some of these guys, especially LeBron James.
Yeah, well, I mean,
the charge.
It's the old adage. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, right? Now that the players are steering the ship, and the players are the one, and it's not the owners and the coaches that are in control of everything. All of a sudden people have a problem with it. When it was the owners stacking teams or whatever. I mean, here's a thing for you, right? Everybody talks about how great Magic Johnson is, and he was a phenomenal player. Okay, Magic Johnson went number 1 overall and immediately went to a championship caliber team. Jamal Wilkes, they were absolutely loaded. I mean, I think they were when Magic Johnson got drafted to the Lakers. I think they won the West that year, or they were in the Western Conference Finals or something like that. You don't, that would be, unheard of now. And it's just the way things are.
Boston selects Peyton Pritchard, point guard out of Oregon.
Peyton Pritchard, really?
Mm-hmm.
He's a floor-slapping, interesting pick. I'm very surprised he went ahead of a guy like Malachi Flynn or some of these other guys that are talked about. How is Tyrell Terry not drafted yet?
We were talking about him being a possibility of the Sixers.
Exactly, and I would have been fine with that pick.
Right.
Peyton Pritchard, I mean, he's one of them guys that everybody talks about his intangibles and his scoring, but he didn't really project high to the NBA. So it's very interesting to see to see this pick from the Celtics.
Yeah, his per game averages senior year at Oregon, 20 points a game, 5 assists, 4 boards, 46% field goal shooter, 41% 3-point shooter. I mean, the stats are okay, but like you said, the big question mark is that going to translate into the NBA? That's a huge question. 6'2", 6'2" guard. He's, like I said, he was a senior, so he's already 22.
Yeah, he doesn't have the really great athleticism. I don't know. I mean, what can you put him as an NBA comp? Maybe a Jay Williams, but not a passer, more of just a scorer.
Yeah, I mean that sounds about right.
I mean, I mean, I'm not just trying to say, hey, is he T.J. McConnell with a jump shot? I mean, it's interesting to find some comps. So, I mean, listen, he did a phenomenal job, out there in Oregon. I mean, he was exciting to watch at times, but I'm not really sure how big of a player he's going to have in the Celtics. But the good thing with him, he goes to Boston. They're loaded in the front court. They're loaded in the back court.
Backcourt, yep.
And who they took? Aaron Nesmith.
Yep. Which, I mean, he could play the 2 or 3. He's a wing guy. They're loaded in the wing.
So, I mean, a very, very weird pick. Nesmith isn't a phenomenal athlete either. So no. It seems like, I mean, Boston. I mean, are they trying to recreate the '80s Celtics? with a bunch of unathletic guys there. I mean, I just,
I mean, I guess they figure, with they have plenty of athleticism already with Tatum and Brown and Smart.
Damn it. Utah is on the clock, correct?
G Money, what's your opinion on Kira Lewis to the Pels and Hampton to the Bucks?
I like Kira Lewis to the Pelicans a lot. I mean, he's a combo guard. I mean, I think he could take some of the minutes that are going to be open up from Drew Holiday's part. Yeah, his departure. I mean, I don't know what big So who else did they get? They got George Hill in that trade.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure. And who else did they get? Do you remember?
I don't know if it was a big.
Yeah. Well, anyway, but so there's minutes left in that backcourt for Kira Lewis, and he looks good as far as a player. I like him. I mean, he's going to bring some excitement. I mean, JJ Redick, I don't see him any more minutes. He's going to get there. Lonzo, I mean, isn't the offensive player Kira Lewis is, and I think it's going to be real nice for the Pelicans. As far as RJ Hampton, I like the pick. It's a little bit odd now because you're looking to Bledsoe. Thank you, G Money.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of incorporate into that offense, or if they even stay there. What the Pelicans are trying to do. But Kira Lewis will be able to play behind both of them guys and get some minutes. RJ Hampton to the Bucks. Like, now here's the thing, that Bogdanovich trade,
Utah Jazz trade center Tony Bradley and the 38th pick to Detroit for future considerations.
Interesting. They also just took Udoka Azubuike, the kid I wanted the Sixers to take in the second round. They just took him, the center from Kansas.
Yep. I mean, I thought he would be a nice target for the Sixers. If you remember, he was the one who was fighting guys in the stands game against Kansas State.
Oh, the kid plays like an animal.
Yep.
He's aggressive. I love his game, man. He doesn't project to be a great NBA player because he's not. He's a traditional. He's a traditional hustler, and yeah, I see a little Ben Wallace in him or something like that. But it's interesting. I thought he might be there later for the Sixers. But talking about RJ Hampton, as G Money brings up as far as to the Bucks, Devontae, DiVincenzo, and these guys, they all had that trade reneged. So it's going to be it's going to be interesting to see who's out there, who coming back, because Bogdanovich isn't coming to the Bucks now. So that's going to have an interesting kick to it. Hampton,
so what is he, a restricted free agent now?
Yeah, and he said he never said anything about going to the Bucks, and they never signed him. So DiVincenzo comes back. I mean, they still have Pat Connaughton. I'll give a shout out to Pat. That's my boy from my surgery. My man Chris Fallon hooked that up. But I don't think RJ Hampton, is going to pay immediate dividends, in that background. He's going to have some time to grow. I think DiVincenzo, if he has to wind up staying there, it's a weird situation. What if you get traded and the next thing you know, you're not traded? It's like, oh, sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
Come on back.
We're just kidding. We love you.
We don't want to get rid of you guys. Come on.
Yeah. So, it'd definitely be interesting to see what's going on there. So, Udoka Azubuike from Kansas is, yeah, I'm a little surprised the Jazz went with him. They already have a center in Rudy Gobert, who is your traditional center. You know what I'm saying? You would think that they would want somebody that complements them more. I'm trying to think who their starter was last year in Utah. They definitely want to. Azubuike brings toughness and rebounding. Gobert has never been accused of being the toughest player in the NBA at all. But he has been accused of a few things, like shutting the NBA down from COVID. Yeah.
touching all the microphones.
Touching all the microphones. Yeah, I like it. Kennard went to from Detroit though, so that G1. But yeah, so it's interesting. So who do we have on the clock now, bro?
Lakers are up.
Lakers.
Laker Nation, stand up.
Maybe they can replace LeBron with this pick.
Somehow, I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, you listen. Yeah. Well, you don't like Tyrell Terry? You don't like Jordan Nwora? Tyler Beck?
Oklahoma City acquires the pick, and they're taking Jaden McDaniels from Washington. So this is going to be Oklahoma City's pick.
This was originally the Lakers, and then it went to Oklahoma City, and then this got traded. This just got traded to Minnesota. This was part of the swap.
Right. So this is
17. Remember the 17th pick for 25 and 28.
Minnesota's pick then.
This is Minnesota.
Okay.
Taking
Jaden McDaniels.
out of Washington.
And he's a kid who has a ton of talent, but there's some question marks. I mean, does any player from Washington come out of the draft without question marks? I mean, Matisse, Matisse Thybulle, I mean, I guess was a kind of a safe pick, but yeah, really,
I don't think so.
Yeah, that was, yeah,
that would be exceptionally stupid on the part of the Pelicans.
Yeah, and so yeah, I mean, Jaden McDaniels.
You know what? If Bill O'Brien got a job with the Pelicans, it's exactly what he would do. That's what he would do.
How's DeAndre Hampton doing in Arizona? Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, we're getting close to the end of round one, which is when we'll be signing off for the evening. We appreciate everybody who watched the show tonight. We always love doing draft shows on the Sports Box. We're on most nights a week. So if you're finding us for the first time, like us on Facebook, check us out on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. Join our Outside the Box sports discussion group on Facebook. We are everywhere. Over 13,000 followers. We're pretty happy about that. Hopefully you get us to our next milestone. We appreciate it.
So
Bill O'Brien would trade Zion and Kira Lewis. Rondo. Bill O'Brien.
That's definitely a Bob trade.
You're just making friends.
Here's these magic beans. Here you go.
Yeah. So.
Oh, the Lakers.
It's gonna be interesting to look back to see who had the best draft in the first round, at least. I mean, so who we have? Boston still has another pick, don't they?
Yeah, they close it out.
They have 30.
I mean, so they had multiple picks in Vessel, Peyton Pritchard, and whoever they pick here at the end. I'm not loving that draft. Who else had multiple picks? I'm trying to think. Minnesota. I mean, so they had Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards. Am I missing somebody?
So they took Anthony Edwards. They took the Argentinian kid Leandro Bolmare. They just took McDaniels, and they got Ricky Rubio back in that trade.
All right. Well, I'm just really talking about draft picks. I don't want to. If you go down the rabbit hole of what players were acquired for what picks and all that, it's just way too much. You have to look at that individual basis.
Right. So I mean, you're starting Rubio and Edwards, and then No. They're
starting D'Angelo Russell.
So do you put Edwards at the 3?
I don't know if Edwards starts immediately. I mean, I just think there's too much. I mean, listen, he might, but you have to see. That's not a question you can answer right now. You have to see the kid in training camp, see how he handles. I mean, he's not. Is he big enough for the 3 nowadays? I mean, his defense was next to D'Angelo Russell. Wow, that's bad. That's going to be a bad company.
Daniels is still wearing braces.
Yes, he is.
And not even the Invisaligns. Like
he don't have that NBA. He don't have that NBA money yet. You know.
Couldn't the agent do something? I mean, he's going to be first round pick.
Yeah.
So can I get a 5? I mean,
The braces aren't that expensive anymore. Are they?
I had braces, man. They were not fun.
I had them too back in the day, but I mean, I'm just talking. Nowadays I don't think what's the price of them though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you have I mean, the Minnesota team, we'll see what they do with that. I mean, McDaniels can help that, that stretch four position. See what he has. But who else has multiple picks? I think I'm Detroit. Was it Detroit that has multiple picks?
Detroit had 3.
They had 3 picks. It was Killian Hayes.
Yep.
Trying to think of it. I don't have the draft. I guess I should pull up the draft.
They had 3 in the top 20. They took Sadiq Bey at 19 and Isaiah Stewart at 16.
Sadiq Bey was not a top 10 pick. Wow. That's not what I was told.
Nah, Sadiq Bey, I don't think. I mean, I really don't even think that he was projected anything I ever seen as a top 10 pick. I mean,
just breaking balls for people that can't defend themselves.
Well, can he really defend himself even if he was on?
Well, no, because it's just which is me with UNC, but I don't claim to know anything about that.
The Knicks also had multiple firsts.
The Knicks have ruined some careers tonight, unfortunately for them.
Listen, Obi Toppin, man. People forget. Listen,
Kevin Knox, R.J. Barrett, these guys don't pan out because they go to the Knicks.
Well, look, I mean, I think Obi is going to come in there and make an immediate impact. Listen, if the guy was 19 or 20 years old, he might have gone first in this draft. Because, like, everybody forgets because it's November and March seems so long ago. I mean, Dayton was a great team. Like, they were a top 5 team in the country. And they were, one of the favorites to win the whole tournament had it gone on. I mean, he completely dominated the top 10. Like, Dayton was great, and he was their best player by far. Like, they were that good, mostly because of him. It would have been interesting to see what he would have done in the tournament, though. And the fact that he's 22 and not 19 or 20 is the main reason why he dropped to 8 instead of being in the top 5.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. I mean, the 2-year age difference is just ridiculous that they hold that against the kid. Yeah, it's just, I mean, when the kid's 32, you're not going to be like, oh, well, if he was 30, you know what I'm saying? If he's still playing, if he's a player, he's a player. Yep. Toppin is a little undersized for his skill set, though. I mean, he's not, he's not the traditional size that you want at a power forward. Especially a stretch 4. I mean, he could shoot. He very offensively phenomenal, defensively non-existent. So, I mean, I think that's another knock against him. But he pairing him with Mitchell Robinson, though. Mitchell Robinson, he could play D.
Right. G-Money says apparently the Bulls wanted to trade Carter in the 4th pick for 2. Probably just take the kid they took at 4 at 2 either way. I guess I don't know if they think he would fall there. Although I thought that pick was early.
No, they tried to trade up to 2 for the Bulls. They offered the Bulls Wendell Carter and the 4 pick to trade up to take James Weissman. That wasn't enough for the.
Yeah, look, your boy finally. You've been only calling his name for an hour.
I don't know who the hell you're talking about.
Malachi Flynn.
Well, this is his range. I haven't been calling for an hour, but I mean,
I didn't hear you say Malachi Flynn for a while. That like someone's going to get a good player.
Because he was a possibility for the Sixers at 21.
Yeah, I said that for the Sixers. But yeah, I mean, who did he go to now?
Toronto.
I mean, who's you'll know that who's his comparison? Everybody compared him to Fred VanVleet. That was his comp.
Convenient.
His NBA comp was Fred VanVleet, and you see Alex Sisser, and well, that's somebody who that I wouldn't mind seeing come down to Philly. If they could finagle a way to get that, because he's due a big. And he said himself, he's like, my goal is to get paid. So maybe negotiations aren't going too well in Toronto with VanVleet, and they took a very similar player in Malachi Flynn. So,
I would love that. That's for sure.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know if that. I mean, right now this year, the Sixers don't have a ton of cap space. Because you still have the Danny Green contract. But maybe they want to send Danny Green back to Toronto. I mean, he NBA champion in Toronto again. And that's That's 19 million. So I mean, I don't know what Van Fleet's going to be commanding. I don't know what his market price is, but I mean, if you could move Danny Green and somebody for a sign and trade for Van Fleet to get around that $25 million a year mark, I mean, that sounds about right. So we'll see what the Wizard Daryl Morey has.
We are coming up.
It's a good start so far for him.
We're coming up on the 30th pick, which will be the last pick for our broadcast tonight. So again, we just want to thank everybody for watching. Make sure you like our Facebook page, Twitter, followers, Instagram, YouTube. Join Outside the Box. We appreciate everything. We appreciate all the love and support. Hope you enjoyed the first round of the NBA draft tonight. We'll be finishing it off with the Boston Celtics at 30, who seem to be at minutes.
Yeah, I just.
With a draft grade that I think Mr. Quigley is going to say is not an A.
Who's that?
I mean, are they going to take a big man? Are they going to have a big man here? Or what's the deal?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't have. Let me see who's up. I don't know.
Boston is trading the pick.
All right. Well, there you go.
Would you say Boston trade the pick?
Boston will be trading the pick.
To?
We don't find that out.
Memphis. Going to Memphis.
Well, if Boston was going to keep the pick, I was going to touch. You're thinking about Xavier Tillman, who could shoot the hell out of the ball. He lit up the combine, or whatever combine-ish kind of, as a big man. But I guess they're not keeping the pick. You said the Memphis Grizzlies?
Yep.
Yes.
First time they mentioned them all night. They must have targeted somebody who they like. I'm not really sure what they would need. I mean,
Desmond Bain.
Oh, we were talking about him earlier. Yeah.
6'6" shooter out of TCU.
That's a good pick.
Great name.
Bain. I mean, so marketable. I mean, you shouldn't. I'm sure Disney would sue the shit out of him.
Yeah. To say the very least.
Yep. Desmond Bain at 30. So
we'll wait. We'll wait for the pick to be officially announced before we wrap the show up. So as the first round comes to a conclusion, again, who are your winners? I know you don't like what Detroit did, you don't like what Boston did, but who comes out of this, I guess, under the radar with a good addition to their team?
I mean, I like Halliburton going to play alongside De'Aaron Fox down there in Sacramento. I think that was a good value there. Let me scroll down here. Tyrese Maxey for the Sixers. I like the pick. I mean, it's at 21 you're not really losing. At the top though, I mean, Golden State with Weissman, I think that helps immediately. It helps long term. So you can't, I think the best situation for LaMelo Ball was playing alongside Devontae Graham and a scorer like Terry Rozier. So I mean, he'll be able to kind of go there and kind of work well with those two underside guards. What about you, Hess? Who do you like?
I would agree. The Kings are a winner. I'm gonna go with the Knicks. I mean, I think Obi falling to them at 8. It was a great value pick. I mean, they had him at the top of their boards. So for him to fall to them at 8 was a steal, was a damn steal. And Detroit is rebuilding. They got 3 picks out of this draft. All right, they weren't probably they could have done better with those 3 picks. But listen, they're a rebuilding team. They moved on from Andre Drummond, so they're just trying to hope that one or two of these guys hits. All right. When you take 3 guys in the first round, I mean, you hope like your chances that one of them hit is very good, and then if, God forbid 2 of them hit, or all 3 of them. But I liked what Detroit did, even though the players weren't who I would have taken. Losers in this draft. So, like I said, I thought Patrick Williams was a little early at 4 for Chicago. I wasn't a LaMelo Ball fan. I understand Charlotte probably had to take him at 3. Nobody really sticks out to me as a big loser. Maybe Minnesota, just because now you've got like this completely crowded backcourt.
I just don't like somebody saying,
"Oh, what the hell they're going to do with them."
If I had a football contract, I'd go play football.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Minnesota Timberwolves could be a huge loser in this draft. I mean, there are so many potential losers in this draft because there's a lot of question marks about, these players. So, I mean, this is definitely a buyer beware draft. I mean, I think there was no sure things. I think one of the losers, and I really like the player, is the Atlanta Hawks. I just don't see the immediate fit. I mean, if they had Tyrese Halliburton right there waiting for them, they could have easily put him next to Trae Young, and then they could have had a solid core to build around. But Okoro, I don't think I don't see where he immediately comes in and takes Capella's minutes or takes John Collins' minutes. I mean, so I mean, Atlanta is a bad team, and I don't think they did much to get too better immediately. I mean, because perimeter defense on that team is. I mean, Trae Young is the worst perimeter defender in the NBA. So when you're looking at that, you think you would want to improve there, and they just ignored it. So, I think as one of the top picks, I think that's one of the big losers.
And there you go. Round 1 of the NBA draft, the 2020, is in the books. I want to thank the guys for coming on. Paul Allen, who left early to go play Call of Duty, I think, unfortunately. Yeah. Brian Hess joined late, took Willie on for the entire duration. We appreciate that. Make sure you check the guys out Wednesday nights for Baseline Jumper. That's 7 p.m. on Wednesday night. Check out really the full Sports Box schedule. We'll be back on Sunday morning for NFL Weekly pregame. You can catch me Tuesday nights on Highly Opinionated. You can catch Brian Hess whenever we do the Total Degenerate show, which I think is Tuesday at 10, but that's kind of flexible. Whenever we have time.
And Brian, let's not forget the most watched show on the Sports Box. That's our NFL preview show every Sunday at 11 a.m. with you and me and whoever's privileged enough to join us.
Whoever can get up in the morning and drink some coffee and just decide to talk about football with everybody.
I would be doing that show every week if I didn't have work. Just so you know.
Get a real job, Bond.
Really, seriously, you're right. You're right. A damn normal job, so I'd be off the weekends.
A damn 9 to 5. All right, guys. Have a good night, and we'll catch you later.
Deuces.
All right, gentlemen. Sixers, second round. Let's go.
3 picks, baby.
This is where the championship is won.
That's right.
Second round.
Thank you for watching the Sports Box. Follow us on Facebook at Sports Box Show, Twitter at Sports Box Show, Instagram at The Sports Box Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our friends at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 points. See you next time.